Chapter 3162. Ling Xiao was only the emperor of the 8 Immortals' kingdom on the Black Tortoise continent, so he didn't reveal his identity as the Celestial Emperor. He wanted the 8 Immortals' kingdom to rule over the Black Tortoise continent, and then let the Celestial Empire swallow it up. Otherwise, the Celestial Empire's influence on the Black Tortoise continent would attract a lot of attention. That wouldn't be a wise thing to do. It would be normal for local powers to fight each other. "It's been a long night," Yang Qi said. "Wolf Fang, you stay here and help the Golden Phoenix Sword Palace establish a connection with the 8 Immortals' kingdom. I still have things to do in the Dragon Mammoth tribe, so I won't talk to you." Ling Xiao patted Wolf Fang on the shoulder, then looked up at the sky. Wolf Fang couldn't be more excited. He had joined the 8 Immortals' kingdom purely because he worshipped Ling Xiao. Now he was seeing his idol in person. Furthermore, his idol was even stronger than the rumors said. How could he not be excited? "Yes, sir." "Understood. But there are 2 more things that I need to report to you." "All right, let's go to my room." "Come with me, Sword Empress Gold Phoenix." With so many people around, there were many things that couldn't be said in public. When they arrived at the room, Wolf said that he had actually said 3 things, not 2. First, Wolf, head of the Razor Special Forces, had infiltrated the Devil Dragon Sword Court and contacted Sword 18th. He was ready to start a rebellion. Wolf Head was the strongest member of the Razor Special Forces and had a cultivation base in the 2nd stage of the life-seizing level. Second, Wolf Ear, Wolf Eyes, and Wolf Nose of the Razor Special Forces had infiltrated the Dragon Mammoth tribe to eliminate the rebels. They were preparing to help the Dragon Mammoth tribe deal with the Sword God Hull. Third, the gate to the primeval god Necropolis had opened, and the god and devil envoys had arrived at the 9 paragons. They were secretly selecting martial artists who were qualified to enter the primeval god Necropolis. These 3 things were very important to Ling Xiao, so when he heard the report, he looked very serious. "Very well, I do know about these 3 things. Then, let's proceed according to your plan. You've done very well. As for the rebellion, wait for my orders." "Yes, sir." After speaking, it was time for Ling Xiao to leave. Golden Phoenix Sword Emperor, who was originally planning to head to the Dragon Elephant Division with Ling Xiao, didn't go with him. Firstly, the poison in his body had not been completely expelled, and his body was weak. Secondly, the Golden Phoenix Sword Palace needed to prepare for the uprising. At the moment, they had to keep a low profile. Otherwise, once they showed up on the battlefield of the Dragon Elephant clan, they would be exposed. Although they would lack a powerful fighting force, Ling Xiao reckoned that Xiao Jin's cultivation was about to end. This time, after Xiao Jin finished cultivating, his strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. When the time came, he would definitely be of help. "There's no time to lose. I'm on my way now." Ling Xiao stood up and said, "Wait a minute." Golden Phoenix Sword Monarch whistled, and a Golden Phoenix Falcon descended from the sky. This Golden Phoenix Falcon is faster than a 4th Division life-sizer. If I ride it, I should be able to get to the Dragon Mammoth tribe quickly. "Thank you." Ling Xiao clasped hands and bowed, then jumped onto the back of the Golden Phoenix Falcon. The Falcon transformed into a beam of golden light that disappeared into the horizon. Along the way, Ling Xiao pulled out Madame Golden Phoenix's ring of holding. This thing, he did not decline the responsibility and took it for himself. In addition to the 500,000 mid-grade spirit stones and 5 heavenly tribulation jades, there were also 2 handwritten secret manuals, the Jade Queen Sword Technique and the Evasive Sword Luminous Steps. Ling Xiao had already guessed that they would be in there. After all, Madame Golden Phoenix's mastery of the Evasive Sword Luminous Steps wasn't high enough. Therefore, she would have to constantly refer to the manuals. Ling Xiao didn't need the Jade Queen Sword Technique, but if he used it to train his subordinates, he would definitely be able to create a large group of experts. And the Evasive Sword Luminous Steps was something he had always dreamed of. As soon as he got it, he began to study it. By the time the Golden Phoenix Falcon came to a stop, he had already mastered the evasive sword luminous steps to the minor level. It only took him an hour to do it. Compared to Madame Golden Phoenix, it was much faster. He looked down and found that the front was filled with a terrifying killing intent. Basically, there was a Sword Dynasty's army at every certain distance. This was clearly the rhythm of preparing to destroy the Dragon Elephant Division. It seemed that the Sword Dynasty's attempt to sow discord and cause internal strife had failed. They were furious and wanted to completely destroy the Dragon Elephant Division. The reason why the Golden Phoenix Falcon had stopped was because it was disturbed by the terrifying killing intent. Forget it. This place shouldn't be far from the Dragon Elephant Division. You can go back. Ling Xiao let the Golden Phoenix Falcon land and watched it leave. He then entered a small town at the edge of the battlefield. In the small town, he saw the secret signal left behind by the 8 Immortals' Kingdom. Following this signal, he came to a small tea house. "Your subordinates greet your majesty." This small tea house was actually an underground transportation station of the 8 Immortals' Kingdom. Currently, it was in charge of sending the situation of the battlefield back to the headquarters. At the same time, it was also thinking of ways to rescue the warriors who were being chased by the Heavenly Sword Hall. In the secret room of the small tea house, Ling Xiao saw a few staff members. These people's strength was not as strong as Lang Ya's. However, they only needed to pass on information and think of ways to save people. They didn't need to be too strong. The escort mission and the mission to sneak into the enemy's rear were all done by the Sharp Blade Special Forces. Ling Xiao had created the Special Forces because of another memory in his mind. This was something that had never existed in the mystic world. He didn't expect that it would be used in the 8 Immortals' Kingdom after being passed down from the Heavenly Empire. The things in the world were really interesting. Everyone get up. Let's talk about the situation in the battlefield. Ling Xiao was more concerned about how his good brothers were doing. The battle is currently very intense, but at this stage, it is still a soldier-level battle. The warriors of the Dragon Elephant Division are brave and good at fighting. The warriors of the Sword Dynasty are numerous, so they are still in a stalemate. In addition, the Dragon Elephant Emperor's life is currently in danger. Although the poison is temporarily controlled, if it is not detoxified for a long time, it will be dead for sure. The Dragon Elephant Emperor has already announced that his son, the Dragon Elephant Emperor, will ascend the throne. Now that the Dragon Elephant Division has eradicated most of the rebels, they are united and ready to fight. However, the Sword Dynasty has sent a number of experts. The leader of the Sword God Hall, Duge Shangjian, is the great sage of poison, the great sage of the Ministry of War, and the great sage of the Ministry of Works. These 4 are third-stage life-seizers. There are also 9 Sword Emperors, 2 of whom are from the Sword God Hall, and 7 of whom are generals. There are even more Sword Emperors and Sword Kings. At this point, the person in charge of the transportation station frowned. Although the Dragon Elephant Division is united, it won't be easy to defeat them. My advice is that you don't go. This is a war that cannot be won. Thank you for your concern, but my friends and brothers are there. You said that we cannot win, but that's not necessarily true. There are many factors that can affect the outcome of a war. Chapter 3163. After getting the information from the underground transportation station, Ling Xiao continued on his way to the Dragon Mammoth tribe. Up ahead was the battle zone, but it wasn't a large-scale battle. It seemed to be just a small skirmish between soldiers. Apparently, both sides were patient. He wondered if there was any other reason for this. "Let me out, Ling Xiao." Domineering Blade's voice rang out from within the spirit beast ring. Not only had he recovered from his injuries, but he had also benefited from the heavenly tribulation pill and broken through to the second stratum of the life-seizing level. It was only natural that he wanted to come out and fight. Of the 9 defiants that Ling Xiao was friends with, 3 were in the second stratum of the life-seizing level. Of course, compared to the Sword Dynasty, they were still a far cry. Ling Xiao wanted to find a way to help the Dragon Mammoth tribe and Falling Moon break through as well. Once Falling Moon broke through, they would have a third stratum life-sizer on their side and would have a much better chance of winning the battle. Furthermore, Ling Xiao wanted to take over the Sword Dynasty, and he refused to believe that they wouldn't help him. Even if he helped them now, he would still be helping himself in the end. All right, I'll let you out. Ling Xiao released Domineering Blade. Although he didn't have to worry about food or clothing in the Spirit Beast Ring, and could still cultivate, it was stifling. The two of them continued onward. As soon as they entered the battle zone, they ran into martial artists from the Sword God Hall. They were blocking the only way to the Dragon Mammoth tribe, and if Ling Xiao wanted to avoid them, he would have to take the long way around. Therefore, he decided to force his way through. You don't have to do anything, Ling Xiao, Domineering Blade said. I'll clear the way. Domineering Blade was very clear about Ling Xiao's strength, so he wanted Ling Xiao to conserve his energy. It wouldn't be too late for him to act when he encountered a true expert. All right. Ling Xiao didn't refuse. After all, these trash soldiers weren't going to be of any help to his cultivation. Halt! Who's there? Ling Xiao and Domineering Blade were spotted as they approached the sentry post, and crossbows were already trained on them. Of course, they didn't listen and continued onward. Fire! Since they were disobedient, they were naturally enemies. The Heavenly Sword Hall martial art practitioners at the sentry post unceremoniously released their crossbows. However, the strongest person at this sentry post was only at the peak of the Yin-Yang realm's 18th level of hell. With such strength, he was not even qualified to injure Ba Dao, let alone Ling Xiao. He was still more than 10 meters away. Ba Dao suddenly raised the blade in his hand and chopped down. The terrifying saber Qi split the entire sentry post into two. The warriors of the Heavenly Sword Hall were either dead or injured. Don't leave anyone alive in case they leak information. Ling Xiao said, Understood. Ba Dao was also very clear that this place was more than 10 li away from the Dragon Elephant tribe. If these people were to leak information and they were surrounded like dumplings, then it would be troublesome. Therefore, he directly dealt the finishing blow and killed all those who were still alive. The only person who had a storage ring was the martial artist at the peak of the 18th level of hell in the first revolution of the Yin-Yang realm. Ling Xiao directly accepted it. Then, the two of them continued forward. They charged through the checkpoints like this. It could be said that they had overcome 5 difficulties and killed 6 generals. They killed all the way to the last checkpoint. The Heavenly Sword Hall was heavily guarded here. The strongest guard was actually an expert at the level of a Sword Emperor. He also had 4 Sword Emperor level experts under him. Do we still want to charge? Ba Dao asked hesitantly. Nonsense, we are already at the end. Can we still turn back? Ling Xiao smiled bitterly and said, You are tired. Take a rest first. It's my turn now. All right. Ba Dao knew that he did not have the strength to face so many experts, so he ate a recovery pill and prepared to help at any time. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, walked in front and rushed towards the sentry post. Halt! The Dragon Elephant tribe is rebelling. We are stationed here and do not allow anyone to pass through. If you dare to take another step forward, we will kill without mercy. The Sword Emperor guarding the sentry post said coldly, General, something is wrong. There are at least 5 more checkpoints in front of us. How did this guy get through? One Sword Emperor at the side frowned and said, Not good. Enemy attack. The Sword Overlord General didn't think that someone would dare to go against the Sword Dynasty, but after hearing his subordinate's reminder, he immediately changed his mind. His expression changed drastically. He began to call out to his subordinates. The soldiers at the sentry post began to nervously and orderly set up a formation to block the path ahead. However, Ling Xiao did not think that the formation was meaningful at all. As he approached the sentry post, he suddenly punched out. The fist energy turned into hot lava and fell into the sentry post like a meteor. In that instant, more than half of the soldiers at the sentry post were killed. At that moment, the Sword Emperor General showed a look of fear. He understood what kind of opponent he had encountered. Everyone back off. This guy is not an ordinary opponent. Life Caesars, stay behind. The rest of you, disperse. The Sword Emperor General roared and charged toward Ling Xiao. If he did not make a move, everyone at the sentry post would be killed. Good timing. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He liked to go against the strong. Although the Sword Emperor was no longer a threat to him, he was still stronger than the rest of them. The Sword Emperor General had a spear in his hand, and every move he made was deadly. Clearly, he knew that Ling Xiao was not someone to be trifled with, so he didn't dare to show any mercy. Wherever the spear was pointed, space would tremble, and a piercing sound would ring out. It was like a venomous dragon was stabbing toward Yang Qi. Not bad. Too bad, you have to fight me. Ling Xiao sighed, suddenly feeling a sense of appreciation for talent. Originally, he could have just fought the Sword Emperor General head-on, but now his body flickered, and he seemed to transform into a beam of sword light that vanished. When he reappeared, he was behind the Sword Emperor General. With one hand, he grabbed the Sword Emperor General by the neck, evading sword steps. How is this possible? That's a movement technique that only the imperial family is qualified to cultivate. The Sword Emperor General felt the pressure on his neck, and his heart was filled with terror. So what if it's a martial technique from the imperial family? I just used it for fun. As for you, you have a chance to live. Switch sides. Become enemies with the Sword Dynasty. Ling Xiao laughed coldly. Impossible. Why would I betray the Sword Dynasty? The Sword Emperor General shook his head. Stubborn, huh? I like stubborn people like you. That's why I want to recruit you. But have you thought about the fact that the Sword Dynasty bullies the common people and oppresses the martial artists? As long as someone started something, it would definitely set off a prairie fire. At that time, Sword Dynasty would naturally be finished. Are you sure you want to stay on this rotten ship? As Ling Xiao tightened his grip, he continued to tempt the Sword Emperor General. What do the common people have to do with me? What do the common martial artists have to do with me? I'm only loyal to the imperial family. The Sword Emperor General roared. Oh, is that so? Then I've misunderstood. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and tightened his grip. The Sword Emperor General, a first-cycle life-sizer, had his head lulled to the side. Dead. Chapter 3164. This time, Ling Xiao didn't kill them. There was no need to. Once they got past this point, they would reach the Dragon Mammoth tribe. Even if the enemy knew about them, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Besides, he really did need people to spread the word about them. First of all, it would shake the Sword Dynasty's army. Second of all, it would make Ling Xiao even more famous. In the future, it would be much easier to do things. No one dared to get in their way. Instead, they stepped aside to allow Ling Xiao and Domineering Blade to pass. Even a Sword Emperor was killed by Ling Xiao in a single exchange. Who would dare to get in their way? That would be suicide. Quick, let's report this to His Highness the Crown Prince. Of course, the Crown Prince they were referring to was none other than Dugu Xingjian. Dugu Shangjian had personally appointed him as the Crown Prince. Not only was he strong, but he was also very much like Dugu Shangjian. That guy just now must be Ling Xiao, the guy on the bounty list. But how could he be so strong? He killed our general in a single exchange. Don't tell me he's already a sword sage? Who knows? But next time we run into him, we'd better avoid him. He's too fierce. I'm afraid only His Highness the Crown Prince is strong enough to deal with him. That's right. Although everyone was having mixed feelings, they all had the same idea. Avoid Ling Xiao if they ran into him. No one would take their own lives lightly. After passing through the final checkpoint, Ling Xiao and the others entered the territory of the Dragon Mammoth tribe. Warriors from the Dragon Mammoth tribe patrolled the area. Most of them were tall, with the shortest being about 2 meters tall. Because of that, it was easy to recognize them. The Dragon Mammoth tribe was generally strong. From what Ling Xiao could tell, the weakest of them was in the 18th level of the Hell of Yinyang. Of course, although they were strong, there weren't many who stood out. That was one of the reasons why the Dragon Mammoth tribe couldn't do anything about it. The Dragon Mammoth tribe had a population of 30,000, of which 20,000 were in the 18th level of the Hell of Yinyang. 10,000 were in the first division of the life-seizing level. As for the second division of the life-seizing level, there were only 2 or 3. Not a single third division life-sizer was present. Previously, when he heard Long Xiang talk about the situation of this tribe, Ling Xiao knew where their problem was. In the end, the battles in the Profound World were basically showdowns between top cultivators. A peak martial artist could often influence a war. Without top-notch martial artists, no matter how strong the overall strength was, it was useless. "Who are you?" Ling Xiao and Ba Dao were quickly discovered. Of course, they didn't try to avoid it. After all, they were here to meet up with Long Xiang and the others, not to launch a sneak attack. They are young patriarch's friends. At this moment, Phantom, who had been waiting for a long time, appeared. She excitedly looked at Ling Xiao and Domineering Blade and said, "Great, you guys are finally here. Big brother Domineering Blade, you actually broke through?" The members of the Dragon Elephant tribe knew that Phantom was their friend and comrade. Considering that she knew Ling Xiao and Domineering Blade, there was no need for them to be nervous. Instead, they smiled and welcomed their honored guests. After all, considering the circumstances, there was no one who would be willing to be friends with the Dragon Elephant tribe. Of course, there was no need to mention the people who had come to help the Dragon Elephant tribe. Ling Xiao and Domineering Blade had broken through their encirclement and come here to help them. How could they not be happy? "Yeah, I broke through," Domineering Blade said excitedly. "It's all thanks to brother Ling Xiao." "Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about this anymore. Bring me to see the Draco Elephant Emperor," Ling Xiao said. After all, Emperor Dragon Elephant's venom was one of the main reasons he was so anxious. "All right," Phantom said, nodding. Then she led the way. As the 3 of them left, the Dragon Elephant tribe members began to discuss the matter. One of them is in the first division of life seizing, and the other is in the second division. They really are loyal. It's too bad we don't have any third division life seizers. I can't believe 9 Defiance hasn't sent anyone. If 9 Defiance is willing to help us, we'll definitely win this war. AI, you're right. After all, our enemies are too strong. Reporting. All of a sudden, a dragon hawk descended from the sky, followed by a Dragon Elephant tribe member. What's going on? One of the Sword Emperors at the outpost was killed by a young man who just joined the Dragon Elephant tribe. Don't tell me it was him. Everyone immediately thought of Domineering Blade. Domineering Blade wasn't very old, just a bit older than Ling Xiao. Therefore, he could be considered a young man. As for Ling Xiao, they didn't believe that a first division life-sizer could defeat a Sword Emperor. By this point, Ling Xiao had followed Phantom to Emperor Dragon Elephant's residence. The people of the Dragon Elephant tribe liked to build stone houses, which were very different from other places in the Sword Dynasty. However, this kind of building looked quite beautiful. It was just a little simple. "Is Falling Moon here?" Ling Xiao asked casually. Upon hearing this, Phantom suddenly frowned. "She didn't come?" Ling Xiao said in surprise. "That's strange. Not only did Big Sister Falling Moon not come, she even sent a carrier pigeon to deliver a letter. The letter contains 9 defiance orders, as well as her fingerprints. She wants all of us to leave and not help the Dragon Elephant tribe." Phantom sighed. "It's fake," Ling Xiao said without hesitation. "Falling Moon isn't that kind of person." Right. That's what we thought. That's why no one left." but we're all worried about Big Sister Falling Moon. We don't know what happened to her." Phantom was very happy to hear Ling Xiao's words. "How much do you know about your own organization? And what about the leader?" Ling Xiao asked as they walked inside. "To be honest, I only know these people from the Sword Dynasty. I don't know anyone else. The only one who's been in contact with the leader is Big Sister Falling Moon." Hearing her description, the leader is a very respectable person. He's open-minded, powerful, willing to help others, and loyal. Phantom answered. "Sai, I hope I'm wrong." Ling Xiao had a very bad premonition and thought. In this world, there were always some people who were good at deceiving women. Although Falling Moon was a hero among women, it was inevitable that she would be deceived by some people. But now was not the time to think about that. Now he had to solve the problem of the dragon elephant tribe as soon as possible. Younger brother Ling Xiao. Right at this time, a voice came over. Ling Xiao looked up and saw Dragon Elephant walking out of the stone house. "Big brother Dragon Elephant, aren't you commanding the battle? Why are you here?" Phantom asked doubtfully. "It's nothing. Bai Fong is helping me command. I came to see father." Sigh. Dragon Elephant couldn't help but sigh when he mentioned his father. "No need to sigh. With Ling Xiao here, are you afraid you can't save the old patriarch?" Chapter 3165. That's right. How could I forget that Ling Xiao has the 9-snake General Beast Soul? He should be able to detoxify the poison. Longxiang was excited when he heard that his father could be saved. "Brother, come with me. I'll leave everything to you." He grabbed Ling Xiao's hand and walked into the stone house. The design of the stone house was pretty good. It looked like the residence of a clan leader. The Emperor Longxiang's body had turned black, and he didn't seem to have much time left. An old man was sitting beside the bed and mumbling to himself. He was dressed like a sorcerer. There was a young man beside him who was looking at the Emperor Longxiang anxiously. "Brother, why are you back?" the young man asked when he saw Longxiang. "Xiang Fei, father can be saved." Longxiang said excitedly, "He can be saved?" The old man who was mumbling opened his eyes and looked at Longxiang curiously. "Young clan leader, do you know what poison the old clan leader was poisoned with? The poison has spread all over his body. He will die in 2 days. Old shaman, don't worry. My brother can definitely save father." Longxiang was confident in Ling Xiao. The old shaman glanced at Ling Xiao and snorted disdainfully. "What can an ignorant brat do?" "Brother, don't blame the old shaman. He's older than my father. He watched my father grow up. He has a bad temper, but other than that, he has no other shortcomings." Longxiang was afraid that Ling Xiao would be angry and quickly explained. "It's okay. He won't scold me if I save him." Ling Xiao was not in the mood to be angry. "All right, let's begin. Let me know if you need my help," Longxiang said. Ling Xiao nodded and was about to detoxify the Emperor Longxiang. However, he was stopped by the old shaman. "Kid, do you know the identity of the person lying there? If you can't save him, I'm afraid you won't be able to leave here alive. So, I advise you not to mess around." The old shaman said coldly. "You don't have to worry about that. I'm quite confident." Ling Xiao said indifferently. "Humph. You'll suffer if you don't listen to your elders." The old shaman stepped aside and continued to nag. Ling Xiao ignored him. Instead, he walked to the Draco Elephant Emperor and released his 9-snake General Beast Soul. The 9-snake heads stretched out and bit the Draco Elephant Emperor's body. Then, the jet-black liquid began to move towards Ling Xiao's body at high speed. "Big brother, who is he?" Xiang Fei asked as he approached Long Xiang. Ling Xiao, ranked second on the bounty list, just below the Flying Thunder God. Long Xiang explained. "So that's Ling Xiao." Xiang Fei looked at Ling Xiao and was immediately filled with adoration. Someone who dares to look down on the Sword Dynasty is truly admirable. Unlike me, I'm not talented in martial arts, and I'm timid. I have the heart, but I can't help. What a good-for-nothing. Xiang Fei, don't always call yourself a good-for-nothing. Learn from the old shaman. Even if you can't practice martial arts, you can become an expert in secret soul skills in the future. Long Xiang patted his brother's shoulder and smiled. Xiang Fei nodded and was elated again. While they were talking, the detoxification process had ended. The Draco Elephant Emperor's jet-black body had basically recovered its color. It was just a little pale, which was a sign of weakness. Ling Xiao hesitated for a while before he put a Heaven's Tribulation elixir into the Draco Elephant Emperor's mouth. Ling Xiao had originally only given this Heaven's Tribulation elixir to his good brother. However, in order to help the Draco Elephant Emperor recover its combat strength as soon as possible and have a higher chance of breaking through, he was generous. All right, the rest of you can leave. Only the Draco Elephant Emperor is here. Ling Xiao suddenly said after detoxification. Kid, what do you mean? The old shaman was so angry that he was fuming. That's what I mean. Ling Xiao said indifferently. I'm going to use a secret technique to detoxify the Draco Elephant Emperor. I can't let others see it. Can't I? Old shaman, you and Xiang Fei can leave first. Phantom, you and Ba Dao can go and help the Baifeng. The situation at the front line is very tense. Although the Draco Elephant Emperor didn't understand why Ling Xiao did this, since Ling Xiao suggested it, he would do as he was told. As the current chief, Xiang Fei and the old shaman couldn't disobey his orders. Old shaman, let's go. Brother Long Xiang is here. It's fine. Xiang Fei was an obedient child. He dragged the old shaman out of the room. Phantom and Ba Dao also left to join the battle. When there was no one in the stone house, Ling Xiao released his boundary martial soul to isolate the space inside and outside. Brother, what do you want to say? Can you say it now? The Draco Elephant Emperor wasn't stupid. He knew that Ling Xiao had something to say to him. Have you found the person who poisoned the Draco Elephant Emperor? Ling Xiao asked. Speaking of this, I'm angry. I used the Baifeng's plan to show weakness to the enemy and lure them out. Then I caught all of them in one fell swoop. But none of them are the ones who poisoned my father. The Draco Elephant Emperor was annoyed. How dare you ask others to take care of the Draco Elephant Emperor for you? You're really bold. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. Aren't you afraid that the old shaman or Xiang Fei are the ones who poisoned your father? Impossible. The Draco Elephant Emperor shook his head. How could they be? I didn't say that they were definitely the ones. However, at this stage, other than you and those who arrived after the Draco Elephant Emperor was poisoned, no one else can be trusted. If you really want someone to take care of the Draco Elephant Emperor, I think Phantom, Sister Qing Qing, or Brother Baifeng can do it. Ling Xiao reminded him. You're right. I was careless. How's my father now? The Draco Elephant Emperor asked hurriedly. Don't worry. The poison has been neutralized. Moreover, I gave him a Heaven's Tribulation pill. After the poison is neutralized, his strength should be able to break through. However, I have an idea. Don't announce to the public that the Draco Elephant Emperor was neutralized. I want to lure you into a trap and fish out the person who is plotting against you. Therefore, leave the task of guarding the Draco Elephant Emperor to me. Ling Xiao said. It would be great if you're willing to help. The Draco Elephant Emperor said happily. All right, let's put this matter aside for now. It's settled. Tell me about the current situation of the Draco Elephant tribe. Ling Xiao had to decide what to do according to the situation of the Draco Elephant tribe. The current situation is not good. The Draco Elephant tribe said worriedly. Although the Draco Elephant tribe is strong, we only have 30,000 people in total. Moreover, there are too few top experts. The other party actually sent 4 Sword Saint experts. Even Duga Xingjian is here. If it wasn't to recruit us, they would have launched an all-out attack. Now, They're just surrounding us without attacking. They want to wear down our fighting spirit and make us surrender. Chapter 3166. Enlistment. That's their real goal, isn't it? If they wanted to wipe you out, they would have done so already. Ling Xiao chuckled. But that's fine. If they want to enlist you, it'll be a good thing for the elders of the Dragon Mammoth tribe. I can take advantage of this opportunity to set up a few spell formations around the Dragon Mammoth tribe. Of course, the spell formations won't be strong enough to stop Life Seizers, but the Sword Dynasty's army won't be able to get in. When the time comes, the battle between armies will turn into a battle between warriors. That way, we'll have a good chance of winning. Won't the odds be low? After all, they have 4 sword sages, 9 sword emperors, and over 100 sword emperors. Dragon Mammoth said worriedly, "What are you afraid of? I can handle 2 sword sages by myself. Plus, Little Gold can handle 1 sword sage as well. And once Emperor Dragon Mammoth recovers, he can handle 1. That way, the 4 sword sages won't be able to fight. As for the rest, don't tell me the Dragon Mammoth tribe isn't confident in dealing with them. You're a tribe of warriors, so if you can't handle them, I'll be very disappointed." Ling Xiao said, "I'm only worried about the sword sages. If we can handle 4 sword sages, then the Dragon Mammoth tribe won't be afraid of the others." "Very well, as long as you're confident in yourself. The Dragon Mammoth tribe really lives up to its name. I was right about you." Ling Xiao knew that the Dragon Mammoth tribe would suffer heavy casualties in this war. But when it came to protecting one's own people, there were always casualties. If the Dragon Mammoth tribe were all spineless weaklings, Ling Xiao wouldn't have bothered helping them. That was because the Dragon Mammoth tribe was so tough that the Sword Dynasty couldn't crush them. That was why they hadn't been taken down yet. In Ling Xiao's opinion, they were the only ones worth saving. After all, in the future, they would be the vanguard of his attack on cities and strongholds. "The Dragon Mammoth tribe is very united," Dragon Mammoth tribe said. "Even if there are some people with bad intentions, they won't dare to openly show it. Everyone is holding back their energy. They want to take revenge for the old patriarch. They want the people of Sword Dynasty to see how powerful they are. In fact, many people were already prepared to sacrifice themselves. Even if I have to bleed to the last drop of blood, I will never surrender." When Long Xiang said this, he was rather proud. In the entire Sword Dynasty, other than the Dragon Elephant tribe, the rest had basically pledged allegiance to the Heavenly Sword Hall. But they didn't. They had always maintained their absolute independence. Maybe things aren't that bad. Ling Xiao smiled and said, "As long as the array formation is completed, it won't be a problem to hold on for a month. I just need a lot of low-grade and middle-grade spirit stones, as well as some other materials. You have to prepare them for me." He made a list for Long Xiang. After Long Xiang saw it, cold sweat dripped from his forehead. "Oh my God, brother, are you setting up a formation? This is simply robbery. Our Dragon Elephant tribe is not a rich tribe. I only have one question for you. Which is more important, the lives of the tribal warriors or these things?" Ling Xiao asked. "All right, I understand. Even if I have to sell everything I have, I will prepare all these materials for you." Long Xiang had been in complete despair. He knew that if he didn't accept the Sword Dynasty's offer, it would be a bloody slaughter. The difference in size between them and the Sword Dynasty was too great, and they couldn't possibly win. But Ling Xiao had come to him, and he had found a straw to clutch at. Although that straw might not be enough to save his life, it had at least given him a glimmer of hope. "Here are some heavenly tribulation pills. Take them, and I'll help you achieve a breakthrough. As the chief, the stronger you get, the better your chances of survival will be." Ling Xiao produced a heavenly tribulation pill and placed it in Long Xiang's hand. Long Xiang swallowed it. After that, Ling Xiao assisted him in his breakthrough. Before long, tribulation lightning appeared above the stone hut. Although many people knew that someone had broken through, They hadn't noticed that the tribulation lightning was actually two people's tribulation lightning. In the same moment that Long Xiang broke through to the second division of the life-seizing level, Emperor Dracomamoth broke through to the third division. As for heavenly tribulation jades, the Dracomamoth tribe had plenty, so there was no need for Ling Xiao to spend money on them. Benefactor. No one outside the stone hut knew what was happening inside. Because of the martial soul aegis, they couldn't see or sense anything. All they could see was that the tribulation lightning was fading away. In the stone house, Emperor Longxiang got down from the bed and knelt down in front of Ling Xiao. He even dragged Emperor Longxiang to kneel on the ground. "Please rise, both of you," Yang Qi said. "I can't accept such a grand gesture." Ling Xiao quickly helped them to their feet. "Senior Emperor Dracomamoth, Big Bro Dracomamoth and I are brothers who have gone through life and death together. His father is my father. Isn't it only right for me to help you?" "You can't say that," Emperor Dracomamoth said. "Everyone knows the situation in the Dracomamoth tribe. Anyone who steps foot into this place will die 10 times out of 10. But you're willing to help us at this time. This kindness is higher than the sky and deeper than the sea. Our Dracomamoth tribe knows how to be grateful. If you need any help in the future, just say it. I, Emperor Dracomamoth, won't even blink my eyes." Emperor Dracomamoth and Emperor Dracomamoth had the same personality. No wonder they were father and son. Emperor Dracomamoth was very straightforward, to the point that it was embarrassing. "Then I'll thank Senior Emperor Dracomamoth first. Let's not talk about this. I'm sure you've heard our conversation. Can you cooperate with us to catch the traitor?" Ling Xiao asked. "Although it's a little depressing to let me lie on the bed, I'm willing to do it in order to catch the traitor." Emperor Dracomamoth nodded. "All right, then it's a deal. Big Bro Dracomamoth, go and collect the materials I need, the faster the better, because we don't know when the Sword Dynasty's army will attack. But don't tell anyone why you're collecting these materials, in case the news gets out." Ling Xiao looked at Emperor Dracomamoth and removed the martial soul aegis. "No problem." Emperor Dracomamoth nodded and left immediately. Then Old Shaman and Xiang Fei came in again. At this moment, Emperor Dracomamoth was lying on the bed again, his face turning purple, and he was unconscious. Of course, it was all a disguise. Because they didn't know who the culprit was, they had to make the culprit jump out himself. "Old Shaman, Brother Xiang Fei, I've helped Emperor Dracomamoth expel the poison, but he's too deeply poisoned and needs 1 more day to cultivate. He'll definitely wake up after 1 more day. During this period, you have to take good care of him. If anyone wants to visit him, just let them stand nearby and don't come close. I'll be resting beside him. If there's anything, just let me know," Ling Xiao said with a smile. "Young Hero Ling, please. I'll take good care of my father." Chapter 3167. There were only 3 people in the old patriarch's stone house. They were the unconscious old patriarch, Xiang Fei, and the old shaman. Suddenly, Xiang Fei spoke. "Old shaman, did you hear Ling Xiao's words?" "So what if I did? It's the Dragon Elephant tribe's honor that the old patriarch can recover," the old shaman said faintly. "Old man, don't play dumb. Do you really think I don't know? You were the one who poisoned my father. Do you really think everyone else is blind?" Xiang Fei said coldly. The old shaman was obviously nervous when he heard that, but he immediately calmed down and said, "Yes, I was the one who poisoned him, but I was deceived by a scoundrel. That Gai Xiang man actually told me that the old patriarch was going to abandon the Dragon Elephant tribe's honor and seek refuge with the Heavenly Sword Hall. He even gave me solid evidence. Now that I think about it, I was really foolish back then. That kind of evidence was simply the enemy's strategy to sow discord. Fortunately, Ling Xiao can save the old patriarch. I won't have to die in battle with regrets." "Ha ha ha, old man, you're really noble. You poisoned the patriarch and betrayed the dragon elephant tribe. You know better than anyone that not only will you die, but your family will also be implicated. With Dragon Elephant's character, he won't let your family go. Xiang Fei mocked. Second young master, I don't understand. What are you trying to say? The old shaman opened his eyes and asked Xiang Fei. It's simple. Kill my father before he recovers. Xiang Fei said coldly. He's your biological father. Why? The old shaman asked in surprise. Why? Is there a need to ask? Dragon Elephant was born as a proud son of heaven. Although I'm his younger brother, I'm labeled as trash. I can't accept it. I just want to prove that I'm stronger than him. Joining the Heavenly Sword Hall is my only way out. To tell you the truth, I've already met the Crown Prince. He's a good person. Although he's arrogant, he's fair in his rewards and punishments. He told me that he'll kill Dragon Elephant for me and that I'll be the patriarch of the Dragon Elephant tribe. And the only thing I have to do is to lead the people of the Dragon Elephant tribe to rely on the Sword God Hall. Xiang Fei said coldly. He no longer had his previous gentleness and timidity. Instead, he had turned into a madman. Second young master, you are muddle-headed. Those people from the Sword Dynasty are not trustworthy at all. You have definitely been deceived. Once we join them, our Dragon Elephant tribe will completely become the Heavenly Sword Hall's slaves. If that's the case, I might as well die. The old shaman said excitedly. He could poison the Draco Elephant Emperor because he misunderstood that the Draco Elephant Emperor was trying to join the Heavenly Sword Hall. Naturally, he would not agree with Xiang Fei's decision. Slaves? What does it have to do with me? They have never truly treated me as the second young master, so why should I care about them? Xiang Fei said mockingly. Moreover, there's a saying that a bad life is better than a good death. So what if I'm a slave? It's better than dying. If I die, there'll be nothing left. They should be thanking me. You've already gone mad. The old shaman trembled as he spoke. Am I crazy? I think you guys are the ones who are crazy. Do you really think that the Dragon Elephant tribe is a match for the entire Sword Dynasty? Just the 4 Sword Saints alone can annihilate the entire Dragon Elephant tribe. The Dragon Elephant tribe has been thriving on this land for tens of thousands of years. Now it's going to be buried in your hands. You are the sinners, the lunatics. Xiang Fei said disdainfully. What if the 9 Defiance men come? The old shaman had to admit that although Xiang Fei was crazy, some of his words made sense. The current Dragon Elephant tribe clashing with the Sword Dynasty was like an egg hitting a rock. There was no hope of victory. However, he still hoped that the 9 Defiance men could help. After all, the current young chieftain was one of the 9 Defiance men. Do you really understand the 9 Defiance? Xiang Fei glanced at the old shaman and said faintly, the 9 Defiance, the so-called enemy of the 9 Supremes, is actually just a cover. The 9 Defiance were created by the 9 Supremes experts. The only purpose of this organization is to attract those who hate the 9 Defiance to join, then use them, toy with them, and finally play them to death. I forgot to tell you, it was His Highness the Crown Prince who told me this. The leader of the 9 Defiance is the strongest person in the Sword Dynasty, the legendary peerless expert, the great-grandfather of the Sword God. What? Hearing this, the old shaman was completely paralyzed. How can this be? I don't believe it. The old shaman couldn't believe that the hope he had been looking forward to was actually dashed. You don't believe it? Flying Thunder God, shouldn't you come out? Xiang Fei suddenly looked at the top of the stone house. There, a flash of lightning flickered. Then a figure appeared in front of the old shaman. Flying Thunder God, the #1 existence on the bounty board, who has killed the top experts of the Sword God Hall. I didn't expect you to be one of the 9 Defiance men, the old shaman said in surprise. It's the real deal. Flying Thunder God took out a keepsake. This was something only the 9 Defiance martial artists could possess. Bai Fong and the others all had it, so the old shaman recognized it. You really are one of the 9 Defiance men, but I'm getting more and more confused. Why would you kill the Sword God Hall's men? Don't you understand? Because I killed those who sympathized with the weak and tried to betray the Sword God Hall. Flying Thunder God smiled and said, The reason why I'm on the bounty board is actually the same as the 9 Defiance. It's to attract the other experts on the bounty board to find me. Or you can think of me as the Sword God Hall's bait. Shameless, despicable. The old shaman was so angry that his beard was trembling. Compared to you poisoning me, it's nothing. Flying Thunder God smiled and said, Xiang Fei, do you want to kill this guy? I'm here this time to help you get rid of your internal problems. Old shaman, I'll ask you one last time. Will you submit to me or die? Xiang Fei wanted the old shaman to submit to him because that way it would be easier for him to control the dragon elephant tribe. After all, the old shaman was supporting him from behind. Moreover, he had the old shaman's weakness in his hands. Even if I die, I won't do that kind of thing. Do it. The old shaman stood up, and there was a strange light flickering on his body. He was a soul martial artist who had the secret soul technique. He definitely wouldn't resign himself to death. TSK, TSK, the Flying Thunder God said. This old man is a tough nut to crack. I doubt he'll give in so easily. Let's kill him. I'll do it. Xiang Fei's aura surged. His soul power surged to a level that surpassed the old shaman's. You, how could this be happening? Never could the old shaman have guessed that Xiang Fei's soul power would be stronger than his. You didn't see this coming, did you? The truth is, I've been in contact with the Sword God Hall for a long time. His Highness the Crown Prince gave me a treasure that will make it impossible for me to practice martial arts, but will greatly improve my soul power. My mastery of the secret soul technique is already at the peak of the 2nd division of the life-seizing level. Not even you are a match for me. Chapter 3168. A sinister smile appeared on Xiang Fei's face. Even a 3rd division life-sizer would have to be wary of me. That's how soul magics work. I'll ask you one last time. Will you submit to me or die? I swear to death that I won't submit. The shaman roared, drawing on his soul power to summon a godly image that shot toward Xiang Fei. You really don't know the difference between life and death, you old bastard, Xiang Fei said. Since you want to die so badly, I'll fulfill your wish. Secret magic. Dragon mammoth manifestation. Xiang Fei howled, and an illusory image shot out of him. Unexpectedly, it was an enormous dragon mammoth. It looked like a dragon, but wasn't. It was incomparably ferocious. In the blink of an eye, the godly image that had flown out of the shaman's body was destroyed. Then it pounced on the shaman, crushing him beneath its feet. It was as if a dragon mammoth had descended into the world, crushing the shaman's bones. He poisoned Emperor Dragon Mammoth because he was stupid, but at least he knew he couldn't surrender. As for you, the son of Emperor Dragon Mammoth, you actually colluded with the enemy. How disgusting! All of a sudden, a voice rang out from within the stone room. Startled, the 3 of them looked in the direction of the bed. Emperor Dragon Mammoth, who had been lying unconscious on the bed, sat up. Then he transformed into Ling Xiao's appearance. Ling Xiao had used the Yin-Yang Devil King's shape-shifting abilities to transform himself into Emperor Dragon Mammoth. As for the dragonesque Elephant Emperor himself, he was waiting in a nearby stone house in his image, waiting to expose everything. You can all come in now. Ling Xiao called out, and the dozen or so people whose auras and figures had been concealed by the formation all entered in a single file. They were Emperor Dragon Mammoth Bai Fong, Ba Dao, Chong Qingqing, Phantom, Dragon Sun, and Cold Plum, as well as the 12 strongest warriors of the Dragon Mammoth tribe. Did you hear what they said just now? Ling Xiao couldn't bring himself to smile. After all, this wasn't something he could be happy about. Although the plot had been exposed, it didn't matter. However, things were a little unexpected. The one who poisoned them was the one who truly cherished the dragon elephant tribe. It was just that he was a little stupid and was deceived by others. Those who did not poison him were traitors who colluded with the heavenly sword Hull. What 9 deities and the others could not accept the most was the truth of the 9 deities organization. They were still in a daze. "Brat, how dare you trick us?" Xiang Fei and the flying thunder god flew into a rage out of humiliation. Xiang Fei controlled the old shaman. The flying thunder god pounced on Ling Xiao. They wanted to use these two as hostages to make the dragon elephant tribe hesitate and let them leave. However, Ling Xiao acted as if he didn't see the flying thunder god's attack. He said coldly, "You're ranked in front of me on the bounty list. I feel ashamed and disgusted." "Then go to hell." The flying thunder god's speed was very fast. Like a bolt of lightning, it arrived in front of Ling Xiao in an instant. The terrifying palms actually contained powerful thunder and lightning as they blasted towards Ling Xiao's head. However, all Ling Xiao did was wave his hand casually. A ball of deviant fire rose up, and the flying thunder god was forced back a few meters, failing to succeed. The flying thunder god had always assumed that, despite having only recently reached the 3rd division of the life-seizing level, any 2nd division life-sizer would be no match for him. But Ling Xiao seemed like a very difficult opponent to deal with. Although he had only used 50% of his power, he was confident that he could kill Ling Xiao. All he needed was a hostage. Never in his wildest dreams could he have guessed that he would end up in such a sorry state. Before he could come to his senses, Ling Xiao turned into a beam of sword light and snatched the old shaman from Xiang Fei's hands. "Many thanks, young hero Ling. I don't need you to thank me, old man. You made a big mistake, and although I helped you make up for it, you can't change that mistake. Therefore, you should atone for it with your actions. If it weren't for the fact that the dragon elephant tribe is in dire need of manpower, I wouldn't have bothered to save you." Ling Xiao didn't even look at the old shaman. His eyes were fixed on Xiang Fei and the flying thunder god. "I understand," Xiang Fei said. The old shaman couldn't even hold his head up in front of Ling Xiao. After all, Ling Xiao was the one who had cleaned up the mess he had made. Deep down, he felt guilty. "Are you crazy, Xiang Fei?" he said. "Are you really going to betray your own tribe? Don't tell me father didn't treat you well?" Draco Mammoth shouted at Xiang Fei. "Shut the hell up. You and father are both idiots. Do you really think you can beat a rock with an egg? Do you really think that just because you have more people on your side, you can force me to submit? The flying thunder god is more than enough to kill all of you. Add me in, and you have no hope of surviving. You're going to die anyway, so why not just die by my hand? You'll be my reward." Xiang Fei had completely lost his mind, and yet he didn't seem the least bit remorseful. As far as he was concerned, the flying thunder god was a sword sage, and he was a master of soul magics. That would be enough to crush the dragon elephant tribe. Trying to beat a rock with an egg? I'm going to try it today. Ling Xiao sneered and said, "None of you should attack today. These 2 guys are mine. Don't kill them. We have a lot of questions to ask them." Bai Fong said with a frown. "Don't worry, Brother Bai Fong. In fact, I have a lot of questions to ask them as well." Ling Xiao's fighting spirit soared, his fighting spirit soaring. His favorite thing to do was to make complacent people despair. He wanted to disappoint those who looked down on him. "Flying Thunder God, can you kill this noisy guy?" Xiang Fei asked the flying thunder god. "Of course. I'll kill him within 3 moves." The flying thunder god nodded. Terrifying lightning was roaring on its body. This guy's martial soul was indeed the lightning of the nature element. However, even though the martial soul was strong, its combat strength still depended on the martial artist's own ability. "Kill!" The flying thunder god charged at Ling Xiao again, but this time it didn't hold back. Previously, it only used 50% of its strength and made it so embarrassed. But now it wanted to use its full combat strength to kill Ling Xiao within 3 moves. On its hands, the lightning jumped more ferociously. Ling Xiao, be careful! Regarding Ling Xiao's strength, everyone still had doubts in their hearts. They knew that Ling Xiao was very talented, knew that Ling Xiao's medical skills were good, and also knew that Ling Xiao was good at formations. However, they didn't know much about strength without fighting. Although Ling Xiao defeated the Poison Great Sage in the Forbidden Area, it was because of the attribute restraint. The Poison Great Sage wasn't necessarily weaker than Ling Xiao. This time, the Flying Thunder God wasn't easy to restrain. In terms of speed and attack power, the Flying Thunder God had an absolute advantage. However, while they were still thinking about this, Ling Xiao had already rushed out. At this time, Ling Xiao transformed into the purple lightning thunderbolt and used lightning to fight lightning. Both of them were entwined with violent lightning. The surrounding people were so shocked that they retreated one after another. Both of them were very fast. The Flying Thunder God purely increased its speed with its martial soul. Chapter 3169. Only lightning and sword light could be seen in the air. In the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao and the Flying Thunder God had exchanged more than 30 moves. Didn't you say you'd finish me in 3 moves? It's been 30 moves. Why do I feel like you can't hold on any longer? Ling Xiao suddenly stopped and looked at the Flying Thunder God with a mocking smile. The Flying Thunder God stopped as well, panting. Clearly, he had expended a lot of energy, and more importantly, he was furious. Too many people were surprised by this battle. Ling Xiao's performance was so unfathomable, so valiant and domineering. Against the Flying Thunder God, a 3rd-level life-sizer, he didn't seem to be at a disadvantage. In fact, the Flying Thunder God was gasping for breath. Ling Xiao, this fellow, actually managed to successfully cultivate the imperial family's evading sword steps. It hasn't even been that long. The Bai Fong sighed with emotion. Yeah, and up until now he's only used the simplest and most direct attacks. He hasn't used any of his consummate skills, and yet he's still able to suppress his opponent. He has really grown too much. The gap between us and him is really getting bigger and bigger. Dracoform smiled bitterly. Damn it, how could this be? This kid isn't that strong. The Flying Thunder God was the most miserable. He had said that he would kill Ling Xiao in 3 moves, but after 30 moves, not only had he failed, but he was also giving Ling Xiao a hard time. Not so arrogant now. To be honest, I used to admire you, but I didn't expect you to be a dog of the Sword God Hall. In that case, if I kill you, the Sword God Hall will suffer a great loss. With that, Ling Xiao changed his move. With the demon dragon sword in hand, Ling Xiao stabbed out, and a domineering sword will appeared in the air. It was like the arrival of an emperor. The Overlord sword appeared. Impossible! How do you know the Overlord sword? When the Flying Thunder God saw Ling Xiao's sword, he was dumbfounded. The domineering sword energy contained the might of an emperor, and it made people want to kneel down and worship it. At least you know your stuff. That's right, this is the first move of the Monarch Hegemon sword. Sword cleaving black tortoise province. No way, you must be a fake. Flying Thunder God Claw, break for me. The Flying Thunder God roared. His hands formed claws at the same time. A huge claw shadow formed in the void and blasted towards the sword chi. Rumble. A terrifying explosion sounded again. The clash between the sword and the claw pushed the battle to its most exciting moment. Blue lightning and golden lightning intertwined, attacked and bit each other. The scene was extremely shocking. Crack! Finally, the sword tore through the claw and stabbed at the Flying Thunder God. Profound Thunder Divine Shield. The terrified Flying Thunder God focused almost all of his power on defense. A shield formed in front of him, attempting to block Ling Xiao's domineering sword. Although the sword blocked the attack, the terrifying power from the sword still sent the flying thunder god flying. The flying thunder god let out a miserable shriek as he slammed into the wall of the stone hut, smashing through it and landing on the ground. Ling Xiao chased after him. The rest of the people followed him out. Mammoth Fei was starting to feel uneasy. He had assumed that the flying thunder god would work with him to wipe out everyone present. Who could have guessed that the flying thunder god wouldn't even be a match for Ling Xiao? He wanted to flee. Unfortunately, the shaman and the others were keeping a close eye on him, so he had no choice but to bite the bullet and fly out of the stone hut. He was number 1 on the bounty list, a third-stage life-sizer. In the past, he had been the idol of many who opposed the Sword Dynasty, but now he was being beaten up by a young man who had just arrived in the Sword Dynasty. It was a bizarre sight, and everyone was in a bit of a daze. We were disappointed that Falling Moon didn't show up, but now it seems that this young man has far surpassed her. He is the strongest among all the friends of the Dragon Elephant young patriarch. The 12 warriors of the Dragon Elephant tribe were delighted to see the flying thunder god being beaten up, although they had been prepared to sacrifice themselves. None of them wanted to die if they could. In their opinion, this young man's appearance was a turning point. Not only is he strong, but his medical skills are superb. He's also a great schemer. A simple bait was enough to expose the true face of the wolf. The Dragon Elephant Emperor, who had been standing among the crowd, finally spoke. When the others saw that he looked exactly like Ling Xiao, they found it strange. They thought he might be Ling Xiao's friend, but when they heard him speak and saw that he had regained his original appearance, they were all excited. Patriarch! Father, the Dragon Elephant Emperor. His appearance caused Xiang Fei, who still had a glimmer of hope, to lose all hope. The reason he wanted to rebel was because the Dragon Elephant Emperor was dead. But now that the Dragon Elephant Emperor had been resurrected, he no longer had any thoughts of rebellion. All that was left was fear. The flying thunder god frowned when he saw the resurrection of the Dragon Elephant Emperor. Lad, I'll take my revenge in the future. The resurrection of the Dragon Elephant Emperor is a big deal. I have to go now. The flying thunder god knew that he had to escape. Ling Xiao was already a headache for him. If the Dragon Elephant Emperor joined the fray, he would have no chance of winning. What else could he do if he didn't escape now? Wait for death? You still want to escape? Ling Xiao mocked. Since you're here, then stay. Trash like you is trash even if you're alive. Lad, I admit that you're strong. But you want me to stay? No way. My name is not the Flying Thunder God. This is my best skill. It's also my nickname. As long as I leave a soul imprint on something, I'll be able to reach anywhere within 100 miles in an instant. The Flying Thunder God sneered. I'll remember you, lad. Flying Thunder Escape. In the next moment, the Flying Thunder God's face was filled with terror. Why? Why can't I use the Flying Thunder Escape? He had already used that move, but his body was still in the same spot. This made him extremely terrified. Why? I have to thank you for being so stupid. Why did you tell me that your move is a soul imprint? Since it's a soul imprint, you can just block off the soul wave. I can still do such a small thing. Ling Xiao sneered. Impossible. How can this be? Even a soul master like Fei wouldn't be able to do this. How did you do it? The Flying Thunder God was in a panic. Previously, he was confident that he could escape regardless of whether he won or lost. But now, there was no way he could escape. If he's a soul master, then I'm a soul emperor. How dare he show off his soul power? What a joke! Ling Xiao sneered. In terms of soul power, Ling Xiao was not arrogant. In the entire Black Tortoise continent, no one was his match. Chapter 30, 170. In that case, even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. The Flying Thunder God knew that he wouldn't be able to escape. Enraged, he began to unleash lightning bolts. Behold my ultimate move, Lightning God's Spear. The Flying Thunder God was a move he had originally reserved for 3rd Division, life-seizing enemies. But today he was using it to deal with Ling Xiao. As far as he was concerned, this move would weaken him greatly, but Ling Xiao would definitely not be able to block it. Unfortunately for him, reality had given him a vicious slap across the face. Lightning God's Spear, huh? It's pretty powerful, but do you really think it can hurt me? Ling Xiao put the devil dragon sword away. Then he performed a double-handed incantation gesture. 5 Ghost Secret Magic, Rock Devil. The magical incantation gesture appeared. Ling Xiao's body was completely wrapped in the body of a giant rock monster. The Flying Thunder God's Lightning God's Spear struck the rock monster, leaving only a small mark on it before it shattered. The Flying Thunder God's hopes were dashed. After releasing the rock monster, Ling Xiao appeared in front of the Flying Thunder God and grabbed him by the neck. See? I can crush your neck anytime I want, and there's nothing you can do about it. You might think that the Sword Dynasty is going to win, but I can tell you that not only will they lose, they'll lose miserably. You won't be alone in hell, because the Duga Sage and the other Sword Sages will follow you. Ling Xiao looked at the Flying Thunder God. Just a moment ago, the Flying Thunder God was high and mighty, saying that he could kill him in 3 moves. Now, the Flying Thunder God's life was in Ling Xiao's hands. He was like a dead fish without any power to resist. You're too naive, the Flying Thunder God said. Flying Thunder God struggled and said, You don't understand the terror of the Dugu's sacred sword. We're both 3rd Division life seizers and we're both sword sages. But even 10 of me wouldn't be a match for him. The Crown Prince is a freak. He's going to lead the Sword Dynasty to glory. He's going to be even stronger than the Sword God. He's going to conquer the primeval god, Necropolis. Hee, I didn't expect you to be a die-hard fan of Dugu Xingjian. Even 10 of you wouldn't be a match for him. Even if there were 100 of you, you wouldn't be my match. Ling Xiao said sarcastically, Soon you will see him go down to find you. Since you want to worship him, you can worship him in hell. Who wants to send me to hell? Suddenly, a very discordant voice came from afar. Before he finished speaking, the figure had already appeared. A domineering young man wearing a golden python robe and a purple gold laurel crown appeared in front of everyone. Seeing this person, Ling Xiao couldn't help but think of Heavenly Ocean Tyranny. That guy was also so domineering. Could it be Dugu Xingjian? Ling Xiao couldn't think of any other young man in the Sword Dynasty who could be so domineering, as if he was a king. You are Dugu Xingjian. Even though he could feel an immense pressure coming from the other party, to the point where he could barely breathe, he still felt a little suffocated. However, Ling Xiao was very excited. He was so excited that he wanted to fight this guy right now. Only the strong would be able to stimulate his cultivation and allow his strength to continue to soar. Your Highness, save me! Flying Thunder God also saw Dugu Shengjian and revealed a look of surprise. Even Xiang Fei, who was originally so frightened that he forgot to resist, seemed to have found his backbone and rushed to Dugu Xingjian's side. No one from the Draconic Elephant tribe dared to stop him. Even the Draconic Elephant Emperor frowned. The higher his cultivation, the more he understood how terrifying Dugu Xingjian was. This young man was indeed more terrifying than Dugu Xingjian at the same age. He was only 19 years old, but his strength was already above many seniors. In the entire Sword Dynasty, he could definitely be ranked in the top 5. Although he was Dugu Xingjian's biological son, he was actually an illegitimate son. This was originally a royal scandal. However, because his talent was too outstanding, Dugu Xingjian brought him to the palace. Moreover, he was even given the title of Crown Prince. Even his mother became the Empress of the kingdom. Do you still have any thoughts of rebelling? Dugu Xingjian was very satisfied with the Draconic Elephant tribe's reaction. He looked at them coldly and said, "Give up. People will die, and many of them will die." No one uttered a word. How about this? From now on, Xiang Fei will be the patriarch of the draconic elephant tribe. I won't make you slaves. You only need to listen to the Sword Dynasty's orders and continue to nurture talents for us. Isn't this a win-win situation? Dugu Shengjian wasn't someone who didn't know how to use tricks just because he was strong. This guy was too sinister. First, he used his strength to intimidate everyone. Then he proposed a condition that sounded good. If he didn't work hard, he could still protect the draconic elephant tribe. This would cause cracks to appear in the draconic elephant tribe that was originally focused on resisting the enemy. When we put down our weapons, we'll be at your mercy, right? At that time, if you make the draconic elephant tribe your slaves, no one will be able to resist, right? Your Highness. Finally, a sneer broke the deadlock. Ling Xiao spoke. His words pulled the 12 warriors back from their reverie. Yes, putting down their weapons meant that they would be at the mercy of others. That was impossible. The draconic elephant emperor looked at Ling Xiao with satisfaction. This young man was able to maintain his composure under Dugu Xingjian's powerful pressure. With just a few words, he was able to break Dugu Xingjian's trick. He was indeed powerful. He then looked at Dugu Xingjian and said, Your Highness, if you want our draconic elephant tribe to join the Sword Dynasty, it's fine. However, we have to keep our army. Moreover, it's up to our warriors to decide whether to join the Sword God Hull. We can assist the Sword Dynasty, but we will never give up our land. Do you think I'm negotiating with you? Dugu Xingjian's tone was already filled with strong killing intent. He looked coldly at Ling Xiao, and his killing intent intensified. You're that Ling Xiao? That's right. Ling Xiao nodded. You deserve to die, Dugu Shengjian said. It's not up to you to decide whether I deserve to die or not. Ling Xiao laughed. Ha ha ha, this is the first time someone dares to speak to me like that. Dugu Shengjian suddenly laughed crazily. Release the flying thunder god, and I'll leave your corpse intact. He suddenly stopped laughing and looked coldly at Ling Xiao. Are you an idiot? Ling Xiao sneered. You know it's impossible, yet you still make such a request. I really wonder if there's something wrong with your Sword Dynasty's people's brains. What did you say? Dugu Xingjian was about to go berserk. Since his debut, he had never seen someone like Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao wasn't afraid of threats at all. Not only are you an idiot, but you're also deaf? Can't you understand such simple words? Ling Xiao said indifferently. Chapter 30, 171. You're that Ling Xiao? You've become famous recently and you're quite arrogant. The Flying Thunder God should be the strongest opponent you've defeated. It's really not easy. Unfortunately, in my eyes, you're just a clown in the end. Dugu Shengjian sneered. I don't think so. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Unfortunately, I have to tell you that the strongest person I defeated was the Poison Great Sage. Didn't he tell you? He must be too embarrassed to tell you. The second strongest person I've defeated is not the Flying Thunder God, but your aunt, the princess of the Sword Dynasty, Lady Jinfeng. Besides, your Tianjue king. Oh, and your brother Dugu Xiong were also killed by me. My performance isn't bad, right? If I'm a clown, then they're not even clowns. What? Not only Dugu Xingjian's eyes widened after hearing Ling Xiao's words, but the people on his side were also dumbfounded. None of the people Ling Xiao had killed were simple characters. Isn't he a little too powerful? Kill him, and we can withdraw our troops immediately. Dugu Shengjian suddenly looked at the Dragonesque Emperor and said coldly. His hatred for Ling Xiao had already surpassed his desire to subdue the Dragonesque elephant tribe. Even if he really let the Dragonesque elephant tribe go this time, he would have another chance to deal with them in the future. However, Ling Xiao must die. The eyes of the 12 warriors of the Dragonesque elephant tribe lit up when they heard this. But then the Dragonesque Emperor roared, Dugu, don't waste your time. Our dragonesque elephant tribe will stand by Ling Zhao's side. We're warriors of flesh and blood. We won't repay kindness with enmity." The 12 warriors lowered their heads after hearing this. Their faces were filled with shame. At that moment, they really wanted to agree to Dugu Xingjian's request. It was truly shameful. "Since that's the case, I can only let you all die." Dugu Xingjian revealed a cold and furious expression. He dared to say such words because he had the ability to do so. It's hard to say who will live and who will die. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He was touched by the Draco Elephant Emperor's decisiveness. In fact, Dugu Xingjian's conditions were very good. Even if the Draco Elephant Emperor was tempted, it wouldn't be too much. However, the Draco Elephant Emperor refused without hesitation. He really didn't save the wrong person. "Arrogant!" Dugu Shengjian roared. "You're the arrogant one. Aren't you afraid that you won't be able to go back if you come alone?" Ling Xiao sneered. "Ha ha ha ha, you want to make me stay? If you release the Flying Thunder God now, I can let you live until tomorrow." Dugu Shengjian hadn't come to save the Flying Thunder God. He was tired of waiting, so he came to test the waters. If the Dragon Elephant tribe was still as stubborn as before, then he would launch an all-out attack tomorrow. From the looks of it now, it was completely impossible to recruit them. They could only annihilate the Dragon Elephant tribe in one fell swoop. Although many people would be sacrificed, it would be worth it as long as they could destroy the Dragon Elephant tribe. Why wait until tomorrow? Why don't you do it now? Ling Xiao tightened his grip, causing the Flying Thunder God's eyes to roll back. "Save me, your highness." "Don't worry," Dugu Xingjian said. "With me here, he can't kill you." Even as he spoke, his aura surged, and terrifying sword will surged out. Everyone present could sense the terrifying pressure weighing down on them. "You really are an idiot. You think I can't kill him? I'll kill him right here and now." Crack! The Flying Thunder God's neck snapped. Just like that, the #1 person on the bounty list, a 3rd Division life-sizer, was dead. "You actually killed him." Dugu Shengjian could never have guessed that Ling Xiao would actually make a move. "So what if I killed him? I'm going to kill you." Ice Frost Dragon Beast Soul Transformation. Frigid Ice Dragon Breath. Ling Xiao knew that if he didn't use his heaven-dominating martial soul, he wouldn't be a match for Dugu Shengjian. However, he still wanted to see how strong he could be. Even as the frigid dragon breath froze Dugu Shengjian, Ling Xiao unleashed another flurry of attacks. Evading sword light steps. Sword cleaves black tortoise prefecture. Using the evading sword light steps, Yang Qi appeared in front of Dugu Shengjian, where he used the same move he had used on the Flying Thunder God. Boom! Ice crystals shattered, and Dugu Shengjian was sent flying backward. He slammed into the ground, blood spraying out of his mouth. What incredible defense! Ling Xiao thought, frowning. If that attack had landed on the Flying Thunder God, it would have been killed. But Dugu Shengjian only coughed up a bit of blood and seemed completely unharmed. Cosmic Light Tiger Beast Soul. Cosmic Light Body. Violet Lightning Bull Beast Soul Transformation. Quakes Earth and rocks mountains. Evading Sword Light Steps. Second Stance of the Monarch and Monarch Hegemon Sword. Sword destroys the 9 heavens. Yang Qi unleashed an even more powerful flurry of attacks. Before Dugu Shengjian could stand up, he suddenly felt the earth shake and he felt dizzy. Although the time was short, Ling Xiao's attack speed was even faster. Sword extinguishing 9 heavens hit Dugu Shengjian once again. But at this time, Dugu Shengjian's body actually emitted bursts of white light, and a pure white holy sword soul appeared behind him. He had actually managed to block the attack. Very strong indeed, but it's not over yet. Bloodthirsty Plague. Heavenly Flame, Ghost King. With the release of the Bloodthirsty Plague, Dugu Shengjian clearly felt some kind of disease in his body. It wasn't a highly toxic germ, so it was even harder to control. He had no choice but to use close to 20% of his internal energy to suppress the germ and prevent it from spreading. Ling Xiao took the initiative to strike first and kept attacking. This was definitely out of Dugu Xingjian's expectations. Dugu Shengjian was very strong, but under Ling Xiao's incessant attacks, the only thing he could do was instinctively release his martial soul. He didn't have time to do anything else. Not only did Ling Xiao have multiple control skills, but he also had evading sword steps, which was so fast that it surprised him. He originally wondered if Ling Xiao was bragging and if he really killed his aunt and Dugu Xiong. But now he saw Ling Xiao use evading sword steps and Overlord Emperor sword. He had no choice but to believe it, but at this time he didn't have time to think too much. Ling Xiao's Heavenly Flame Ghost King had already attacked. This Heavenly Flame Ghost King was the most powerful move of the 5 Ghost Secret Arts, a new move evolved by fusing the energy of the Heavenly Flame magma. It was even stronger and more powerful. The powerful Ghost King's body seemed to be burning with a strange flame. The surface of his body was covered with a layer of magma armor. Rumble. The Heavenly Flame Ghost King's attack hadn't hit the ground yet, but the terrifying pressure had already shattered the surrounding rocks. Because Ling Xiao used this attack under the cosmic body, its speed was naturally super fast. It was something Dugu Shengjian couldn't defend against. Not even a 3rd division life-sizer could unleash an attack like this. And yet Ling Xiao, a 1st division life-sizer, had unleashed an attack like this. Chapter 30:172. Not only is this guy's attack powerful, but he's also using an evil technique that can enter my body through my blood and devour my chi and blood. I had no choice but to use 20% of my internal energy to suppress it. Otherwise, he would have taken advantage of it. It seems that the rumors outside can't be completely trusted. This guy has long grown into an existence more terrifying than the Demon Sovereign and the Gold Phoenix Sword Emperor. No wonder the Gold Phoenix Sword Emperor couldn't do anything about my aunt's death. Dugu Shengjian didn't know that the Gold Phoenix Sword Emperor had silently acknowledged Madame Gold Phoenix's death. However, no matter how strong he is, he's still not as strong as me. Dugu Shengjian had gradually gotten the hang of the battle and could begin his counterattack. A long sword appeared in his hand. The body of the sword was long and slender, and it was also pure white like a holy white jade. Today, let me teach you how to use a sword. Dugu Shengjian sneered. When Ling Xiao's Ghost King, Heavenly Flame, approached, he suddenly thrust his sword. It was a simple thrust, but it seemed to distort time and space. A holy sword aura shot out. Not only did it shatter the Ghost King, Heavenly Flame, but it also absorbed the Heavenly Flame into the sword. Not only did Dugu Shengjian's aura not weaken, but it became even stronger. The ferocious sword aura instantly penetrated dozens of meters and penetrated Ling Xiao's body. Without a doubt, Dugu Shengjian, who had only used 80% of his strength, could completely suppress Ling Xiao, who was in his beast soul transformation state. However, Dugu Shengjian's smile disappeared before it could even begin. That was because the pierced Ling Xiao had turned into a ball of raging fire and disappeared. Dugu Shengjian felt an extremely dangerous aura coming from behind him. Gold Phoenix transformation? How did this guy learn the martial arts of the Gold Phoenix Sword Palace? Dugu Shengjian frowned. He originally thought that once he made a move, he would definitely be able to kill Ling Xiao and eliminate all future troubles. Ling Xiao must not be allowed to live. Since he couldn't use such a genius, he would definitely be a disaster if he kept him alive. However, he didn't expect Ling Xiao to have a trump card. The Heavenly Flame won't burn you to death. Let me see what the immortal fire is like. Ling Xiao's body had already transformed into the undying bird beast soul. Behind him, there were still the Ice Blast Dragon Beast Soul, the Cosmic Tiger Beast Soul, and the Purple Thunder Bull Beast Soul. Although the existence of these beast souls was not as powerful as the transformation, it could still increase his combat strength. Moreover, he could use special skills, so he naturally had to keep it. Phoenix, immortal flame. Following Ling Xiao's roar, the terrifying flames instantly spread out. At that moment, Duge Xingjian no longer had any possibility of dodging. The immortal fire spread across the ground, and even the huge rocks that came into contact with it were instantly turned into ashes. Its power far surpassed that of a heavenly flame. Storm's sacred sword. Even though he had never seen anyone use immortal fire, Duge Shengjian reacted in an instant. He brandished the holy sword in his hand, and a gust of wind suddenly spun around him. The raging storm blew the immortal fire all over the place, but it couldn't get close to Duge Shengjian. However, even with that being the case, the blazing heat still caused Duge Shengjian's complexion to turn pale. This was the first time he felt the threat of death. If he was really burned by that ball of immortal fire, no matter how powerful he was, he would definitely die. Female ghost charm. Suddenly, Ling Xiao made a hand seal, and a female ghost appeared in front of Duge Xingjian's eyes. At that moment, Duge Xingjian's mind was in a trance, and he actually stopped the operation of the storm's sacred sword. The immortal fire that had been blown away by the storm sacred sword attacked again. Chi, chi, chi. The sound of the raging fire burning his body rang out. Duge Xingjian let out a shocking scream. However, this guy was Duge Xingjian's son after all. He actually had a powerful defensive magic treasure on him. In addition, with the protection of his true essence, the charm disappeared, and he rushed out of the immortal fire. Even so, a burning smell came from his body. At this moment, Duge Shengjian was angry and frightened. He was angry because he was forced to such a state by a small character like Ling Xiao. This was simply a great humiliation. He was frightened because the moment he was surrounded by the immortal fire, he seemed to have seen his death. If it wasn't for the defensive magic treasure on him, he would have died. Thinking about it, he felt scared. He was going to die here without knowing anything. He finally understood that he was careless. He was too careless. Relying on his strength, he thought that he could enter the dragon elephant tribe at will. He didn't expect that Ling Xiao's strength could be so powerful. The people standing behind Ling Xiao were also completely dumbfounded. What's going on? Duge Shengjian was almost burned to death? Ling Xiao is unharmed? Is this a dream? Duge Shengjian usually doesn't use a sword to kill people. He can finish them with his bare hands. Today he used the sacred sword, but he was still injured. He looks battered and exhausted. What happened to Ling Xiao? How can he be so powerful? Whether it was the people of the Dragon Elephant tribe or the Baifeng, they were all dumbfounded. Obviously, the series of attacks he had just unleashed wasn't luck, but true power. Although Ling Xiao seemed to have gained the upper hand, Duge Xingjian was still battered and exhausted by the fact that he had unleashed his sacred sword martial soul. Could it be that Ling Xiao was actually stronger than Duge Shengjian? This is only the beginning, Duge Shengjian said. That immortal fire was my strongest attack. If it didn't kill him, then there's nothing else I can do. No wonder he's called the #1 genius of the Sword Dynasty. He's really strong. Ling Xiao finally stopped attacking. Returning to his original position, he said, sounding a bit frustrated. If any other 3rd Division life-sizer had been in his place, they would have long since been killed by the barrage of attacks he had just unleashed. But Duge Shengjian wasn't dead. This guy really wasn't someone to be trifled with. Remember this, Ling Xiao, Duge Shengjian said. Today I admit defeat. But tomorrow, you'll have to wash your neck and wait. I won't underestimate you anymore. I'm going to use all of my power to kill you. Although Duge Shengjian wasn't seriously injured by the immortal fire, he couldn't unleash his full power. He regretted underestimating Ling Xiao, and was worried that the people of the Dragon Elephant tribe would surround him and kill him. Therefore, he decided to leave. With that, he transformed into a beam of sword light that shot off into the distance. Xiang Fei was left behind, gaping in shock. Xiang Fei had assumed that his backer had arrived. Who could have guessed that the very person he had looked down on would beat him away? Did you see that, Xiang Fei? Dragon Elephant Tribe said. Duga Shengjian isn't that amazing. With Ling Xiao here, we have nothing to fear. Long Xiang looked at Xiang Fei and said, although you've made a grave mistake this time, you're still my brother. I won't kill you. Men, lock him up in the dungeon and watch over him strictly. I want him to see the end of the Sword Dynasty with his own eyes. Ling Xiao's fight had been truly inspiring. Chapter 30, 173. Brother Ling Xiao, if you meet Duga Xingjian again, how confident are you in winning? Long Xiang suddenly looked at Ling Xiao and asked. It was obvious that he had gradually regained his composure after his excitement. This Duga Shengjian is more powerful than I imagined. To be honest, I've used up all my strength today. If I meet him again, I'm afraid it'll be a 30 to 70 chance. 30 for me and 70 for him. Ling Xiao didn't want them to be blinded by the victory in front of them, so he deliberately poured a bucket of cold water on them. This 30 to 70 chance was the result of his ordinary beast soul transformation. If he used the peerless heavenly rat beast soul transformation, it would be 50 to 50. If he used the sky tyrant martial soul, it would be 70 to 30. At that time, it would be 70 to 30 for him and Duga Xingjian. However, he couldn't use the sky tyrant martial soul easily. It was something he had always guarded. Hearing Ling Xiao's words, everyone felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over their heads. Their originally excited mood instantly calmed down. This was the effect Ling Xiao wanted. They really couldn't be too arrogant, otherwise they would pay a heavy price. Long Xiang stood there for a long time. Suddenly, he seemed to have made a decision. He looked at his brothers and sisters and said, everyone, Duga Xingjian is clearly here to scout the situation. He will definitely launch an all-out attack tomorrow. At that time, no one will be able to stop Duga Xingjian, not to mention the other 3 sword saints. Our Dragon Elephant Tribe is brave and good at fighting. We are not afraid of death, but I can't bear to let my brothers and sisters die with me, especially you, Ling Xiao. If you live, you can avenge our Dragon Elephant Tribe. Ling Xiao suddenly said coldly, Long Xiang, you said such words because you don't trust me and you don't treat me as a brother. Or do you think that I, Ling Xiao, am greedy for life and afraid of death? If that's the case, why would I come here to help you when I know that there are tigers on the mountain? I don't have the confidence to defeat Duga Xingjian. Even if I die, I will injure him severely. If you really treat me as a brother, don't say such nonsense. Otherwise, I'll really get angry. That's right, Longxiang. Your words are too infuriating. We've been through fire and water together for so many years. Don't you know what kind of person I am? Some deaths are heavier than Mount Tai, and some are lighter than a goose feather. I, Bai Feng, will die without regrets for my friends. The Bai Feng added, Ba Dao's life was given to me by my brothers. If I give it back to my brothers, I won't even blink an eye. Back then, Cold Plum and I came to Sword Dynasty and encountered danger. It was Big Brother Long Xiang and you who saved us. Now that our strength has increased greatly, how can we abandon you? If that happens, I'm afraid even Boss Ling Xiao will look down on us. In fact, even if Long Xiang and the others hadn't helped them, Long Chen and Cold Plum wouldn't have hesitated if Ling Xiao had decided to help them. They had followed Ling Xiao for a long time. Although I, Phantom, am not strong enough, there are still things I can do. Me too, Chong Qingqing said indifferently. She was now in the first stratum of the life-seizing level, the same level as Long Chen and Cold Plum. However, her god arrow was clearly a greater threat. You guys! Long Xiang was a tough guy, and yet Tears were streaming down his cheeks. Men don't cry easily, but only when they're deeply hurt. He was deeply moved. Emperor Dragon Mammoth was very happy to see this. He knew he hadn't misjudged his son. He had made true friends. They weren't just fair-weather friends. "Don't worry," he said. "I won't let the Dragon Mammoth tribe be destroyed. Never." Ling Xiao gritted his teeth. Actually, from this moment on, the position of these brothers and sisters in Ling Xiao's heart was no less than Long Qin, Xiao Jin, and Leng Mei. They had experienced life and death together, and had never left each other, even in the most difficult of times. That was what Ling Xiao valued the most. Even if they didn't spend much time together, their feelings could be very, very deep. Some people spent their entire lives together and still ended up as strangers. But some people only met for a moment and still ended up as good friends. Good comrades. "Big bro, Dragon Mammoth," Yang Qi said. "Did you get the materials I asked you to?" People couldn't always be excited. When it was time to get things done, they had to get things done. In order for the Dragon Mammoth tribe to gain the upper hand in this war, Ling Xiao had to think of a way to reduce casualties. And the spell formation he was going to set up was the key. There wasn't enough time to set up a complex spell formation. But Ling Xiao had plenty of ideas. "The materials are ready," Dragon Mammoth said. "We're in the middle of a war, so it's easy to get them." "Good. Tonight, we'll set up the spell formation. All of you help me. We have to finish this 3-layered defensive spell formation as quickly as possible. First layer, Pestilence Bone dissolving spell formation. If the enemy isn't strong enough, they'll definitely be infected. Combined with my 9 snakes venom domain, it should be able to defend against most enemies. It can also absorb their internal energy for the Lesser Myriad Lightning Immortal Slaying formation. Second layer, Lesser Myriad Lightning Immortal Slaying formation. It was the most powerful of the 3 formations and would be difficult for anyone under the life-seizing level to defend against. Third, the Myriad Beasts Blood Refining formation. It can be used to channel the power of myriad beasts into the Lesser Myriad Lightning Immortal Slaying formation and increase its power. These 3 formations were the formations that Ling Xiao was most adept at setting up at the moment. They were also the most convenient formations. Once they were complete, they would be more useful than an army of 1,000,000 lions. Unfortunately, the amount of materials required was terrifying. Even with all the materials the Dragon Mammoth tribe had, they would only be able to keep the spell formation going for about 10 days. However, 10 days was more than enough. After a busy night, the 3 formations were finally complete. As dawn approached, everyone was finally able to get some rest. At the same time, Dugu Xingjin's injuries were almost completely healed. He was currently standing outside of his command tent, issuing orders. "When the sun rises, the Dragon Mammoth tribe will be destroyed. Attack!" His orders echoed out. More than 1,000,000 soldiers were mobilized. If they really did attack, the 30,000 warriors of the Dragon Mammoth tribe wouldn't even be enough to fill the gaps between their teeth. Crush the Dragon Mammoth tribe. Capture Ling Xiao alive! As the enthusiastic shouts rang out, the ground began to shake. The Dragon Mammoth tribe's warriors, who had been awakened by the tremors, spread out into a line, with Emperor Dragon Mammoth in the lead. 30,000 people appearing at once was a shocking sight, but compared to 1,000,000 lions, it was a far cry. By this point, everyone was very nervous. Those who knew about the spell formation's protection were worried about whether or not it would be effective. Those who didn't know about the spell formation's protection were even more terrified and weren't sure if they would live to see the next day. Although they didn't fear death, they wanted to charge out and fight, not stay here and suffer the torment of fear. Soon, the sky was bright, and the Sword Dynasty's flag was shining brightly. The vanguard had already reached the Pestilence Bone formation. "Ling Xiao, do you want to activate the formation?" Chapter 30, 174. "Calm down, it's not the time yet." Listen to my orders." Ling Xiao stood there and looked into the distance with indifference. His emotions did not fluctuate at all. All right. Longxiang knew that he was a little too nervous, but there was nothing he could do about it. After all, this war was related to the survival of Longxiang tribe. It was impossible for him not to be nervous. Once they failed, Longxiang tribe would be annihilated. Sword Dynasty's army continued to advance. When the distance between the two armies was less than 500 meters, Ling Xiao finally raised his right hand and chopped down fiercely. The formation was activated. He was trying his best to put as many enemies into the formation as possible so that he could create a more terrifying deterrent force. When the pestilence bone-dissolving formation was activated, everyone was stunned. Terrifying roars were heard continuously. It made one's scalp tingle. A large number of Sword Dynasty soldiers fell down, corroded, destroyed, and turned into bones. At the same time, the Lesser Myriad Lightning Fairy slaying formation was activated. Every bolt of lightning turned many of the Sword Dynasty soldiers into charcoal. Those who rushed in front wanted to escape. Those who followed behind did not know what was happening. In such a crowded front and back, countless people were trampled to death. In just a moment, Sword Dynasty's army of 1,000,000 lost at least 100,000. This was a bloody number. No one wanted to see it, but this was how war was. The one who should feel guilty was not Ling Xiao, not Longxiang tribe, but Sword Dynasty, who started the war. Oh! Long live Longxiang tribe! The Longxiang tribe's warriors who had been nervous for a long time finally roared and vented their anger. They rushed out and killed those warriors who were lucky enough to break through the formation. In war, there was no sympathy, no mercy, only hostility. Moreover, the Longxiang tribe's warriors were protecting their territory and their loved ones. They would fight with all their might. Ha, this is great. Brother Ling Xiao's formation is indeed extraordinary. Although the consumption is high, the effect is simply outstanding. Longxiang tribe laughed and said, "Without this formation, I'm afraid that there wouldn't be many people left in Longxiang tribe." Previously, he was still distressed over the loss of his materials, but at this moment he was incomparably glad. However, on the other side, the Sword Dynasty did not have such an easy time. He had come with a murderous aura, but had retreated in a sorry state. Not only did Duge Xingjian, who was in charge of commanding, lose face, but the entire Sword Dynasty also lost face. Charge! All of you, charge! Whoever dares to retreat will be killed without mercy. The great sage of the Ministry of War frantically urged his soldiers. Furthermore, those who dared to retreat were killed on the spot as a warning to others. However, the effect of the second wave of impact was similar. Another 100,000 people had died. It was meaningless. "Enough," she said. "If things keep going on like this, we'll just be sacrificing ourselves for nothing. Life Seizers, follow me." Although Duge Xingjian didn't understand spell formations, he could tell that only Life Seizers would be able to survive. Since that was the case, the attack of the army had become a meaningless sacrifice. He decided to lead all the Sword Saints, Sword Emperors, and Sword Sovereigns to charge over. As for the army, they surrounded the Dragon Elephant tribe tightly, not letting anyone leave. 200,000 had died, but there were still 800,000 left. It was enough to trap 30,000 people. "They're here," Ling Xiao said, walking over to Emperor Dragon Elephant. After all, he and Emperor Dragon Elephant were the strongest people in the Dragon Elephant tribe. And then there was Little Gold. All three of them were strong enough to fight 3rd Division Life Seizers. The Duge Xingjian had an unsightly expression on his face, and yet he didn't immediately attack. After all, their advantage in numbers had turned into a disadvantage. "Your Highness, you look much better after a night," he said. "By the way, didn't you say you were going to launch an all-out attack? Why did so many people come? There were only 100 or so people in total." TSK. "Are you sure that's enough to wipe out the Dragon Elephant tribe?" Ling Xiao said, looking at the Dugu Shengjian with a wide smile. It's not about numbers, the Dugu Shengjian said coldly. It's about quality. If it's not about numbers, then what's the point of bringing so many people? To watch the show? Ling Xiao sneered. Enough. I'm sure you know what the situation is. Even if you're strong enough to wipe out the dragon elephant tribe, I can guarantee that there won't be more than 1 or 2 people left alive. Do you really think you can afford to pay that price? What exactly are you trying to say? The Dugu Xingjian asked. Simple. We'll each send 3 people. 2 out of 3 wins. If we win, you take your army and retreat. And for a year, you're not allowed to attack the dragon elephant tribe. If you win, the dragon elephant tribe will submit to the Sword Dynasty. What do you say? Ling Xiao said with a smile. You want to negotiate with me? Are you scared? The Dugu Shangjian said coldly. Scared? I just don't want to fight to the point of mutual destruction. If you don't want to, then let's attack. Ling Xiao chuckled coldly. You have to add a condition. If we win, not only will the dragon elephant tribe have to submit to the Sword Dynasty, you'll die, the Dugu Shengjian said. There's no room for negotiation. Do you think I'm stupid? You have so many experts on your side. Our chances of winning are slim. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, The current conditions are already very advantageous for you. If you don't want to accept, then forget it. Let's fight. Your Highness Crown Prince, we have 4 sword saints, the Dugu Shengjian said. They don't have a single 3rd division life-sizer on their side. If it's a 3-on-3 fight, we'll definitely win. Why don't you agree? The great sage of Ministry of Works said with a frown. Definitely win? Don't be stupid. Ling Xiao isn't an idiot. If he wants to make a bet like this, then he's definitely confident. Unless I'm mistaken, Emperor Dragon Elephant is already in the 3rd division of the life-seizing level. And then there's Ling Xiao. He's even stronger than an ordinary 3rd division life-sizer. That's probably why they want to go all out. The Dugu Shangjian looked coldly at the great sage of Ministry of Works. That doesn't matter. Leave Ling Xiao to me. Who's going to deal with Emperor Dragon Elephant? I'll do it. The great sage of poisons stepped forward. We're old friends, and I know exactly what he's capable of. All right, the Dugu Shengjian said. We'll take the 3rd spot. Great sage of the Ministry of War, you take it. No matter who you face, just fight to the death. The Dugu Shangjian looked over at the great sage of the Ministry of War. Obviously, the great sage of the Ministry of War was much stronger than the great sage of the Ministry of Works. Yes, sir, the great sage of the Ministry of War replied. After the discussion was over, the Dugu Shengjian looked over at Ling Xiao and said, I agree to your bet. It's a 3-on-3 fight. However, we'll have to decide who we're going to fight first. I don't like people playing the Tianji horse race. No problem, Ling Xiao said. What's the order of battle? Great sages of the Ministry of War, great sage of poisons, and me. The Dugu Shangjian said coldly. Chapter 3175. Ling Xiao, are you confident? You're facing a tough opponent. Dragonesque Elephant began to worry. Isn't it too childish to bet the survival of Dragonesque Elephant tribe on a bet? Dragonesque Elephant, it's too ugly. Before Ling Xiao could speak, Emperor Dragonesque Elephant suddenly said, Since we've decided to entrust our lives to others, there's no need to doubt it, even if we die in the end. So what? Besides, this bet is actually extremely beneficial to us. Don't you understand? Beneficial to us? Dragonesque Elephant did not quite understand. At this moment, only a few people nearby could hear their conversation. Hence, they were not afraid of being heard by the people opposite them. Emperor Dragonesque Elephant said, If we win the bet, Sword Dynasty will definitely withdraw to save face. After all, they represent the imperial family. If they don't abide by the bet, who will dare to cooperate with them in the future? However, we're different. Once we lose the bet, they'll have no other choice but to fight to the death. This is called the barefooted are not afraid of those wearing shoes. If we're about to lose our lives, what's the point of losing face? Hence, regardless of winning or losing, we won't become Sword Dynasty slaves. Do you understand? Understood. Dragonesque Elephant's heart was surging with heroism and enthusiasm. Yes, their heads could be cut off and their blood could flow. Dragonesque Elephant Tribe would never become Sword Dynasty slaves. It's better to die in glory than to live in dishonor. This was the spirit of Dragonesque Elephant Tribe. Without this spirit, Dragonesque Elephant Tribe would have surrendered to Sword Dynasty long ago. They would not have lasted until today. Understood. Let's wait and see. In addition, prepare for the final battle. It's better to be a Dragonesque Elephant ghost than to be a Sword King slave. Emperor Dragonesque Elephant was also very emotional. Ling Xiao had already created the best situation for them. If they still failed, then they really couldn't blame anyone. They could only fight to the death. What's the arrangement? At this moment, Dugu Xingjian's urging voice could be heard. Ling Xiao smiled and then gently touched the B-string. Boom! A ball of golden light bloomed from the B-string. Little gold flew out. The palm-sized golden bird contained a terrifying power that no one dared to underestimate. Let little gold fight the first battle. Ling Xiao turned to look at the Dragon Elephant Division and said, although Goldie is a demonic beast, that doesn't stop it from participating in the battle. Don't underestimate him. Even I may not be able to defeat him now. So Little Gold should be able to win the first battle against the great sage of the Ministry of War. No one here had ever seen Little Gold's strength. But at this moment, no one doubted Ling Xiao's judgment. Since they had entrusted everything to Ling Xiao, they would just follow Ling Xiao's arrangements. Do you have any objections? Ling Xiao asked Dugu Xingjian. No. Dugu Xingjian shook his head. He looked at the great sage of the Ministry of War and said, it's just an evil creature. Don't lose to it. Otherwise, don't go back. Don't worry, Your Highness. This subordinate will definitely kill that bastard. The great sage of the Ministry of War said with a fierce glint in his eyes. In that case, Yang Qi said, Senior Emperor Dragon Elephant will fight the second battle. You're the only 3rd Division life-sizer in the Dragon Elephant Division, so your opponent will be the great sage of poisons. Ling Xiao said, why not you, old pal? You already defeated the great sage of poisons in the Forbidden Lands. If it were you, you'd have already won 2 out of 3 battles. There wouldn't be a need for a 3rd battle. Dugu Xingjian said, I'd love to, but I doubt they'll agree. Ling Xiao looked over at the Sword Dynasty. They weren't idiots. If they knew they were going to lose, they wouldn't make a bet. That's right, Dugu Xingjian said. If Ling Xiao wants to fight, he'll have to fight me, Dugu Xingjian said coldly. Otherwise, let's forget about this bet. Damnation, Dragon Elephant said, shaking his head. He shook his head helplessly. It hadn't been easy for Ling Xiao to make this bet, and he couldn't afford to lose it over something as trivial as this. Don't worry, Dugu Xingjian said. I'll definitely fight you in the 3rd round, and I'll definitely win. Ling Xiao looked at Dugu Xingjian and said with a smile, I'm sure you still remember what happened last night. I don't know what gives you the confidence to request a fight with me. Obviously, he was trying to goad Dugu Xingjian into action. Considering how prideful Dugu Xingjian was, even if he guessed that Yang Qi was trying to goad him into action, he would still fall for it. That was one of the most terrifying things about goading people into action. You'll see, Ling Xiao, Dugu Xingjian said. Last night I was careless and got burned by your immortal flame. But today, things aren't going to be that simple. Apparently, Dugu Xingjian couldn't wait to use his full strength to deal with Ling Xiao. Senior Emperor Dragon Elephant, there's no need to force yourself. If you can't win, just concede. Little Gold will take the 1st round, and I'll take the 3rd. Ling Xiao turned his head and said, "But didn't you say last night that you only had a 30% chance of winning?" Dugu Xingjian asked. Ling Xiao didn't say anything. He only smiled. Everyone was infected by his confident smile. Victory! 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 Intense cheers rang out from the audience. The crowd was in high spirits. With that, the bet was set. The opponents for the 3 battles were also decided. Little Gold against the great sage of the Ministry of War. Emperor Dragon Elephant against the great sage of Poison. Ling Xiao against Dugu Shengjian. This was an absolute peak battle, a battle that concerned the life and death of the Dragon Elephant tribe. The Sword Dynasty could afford to lose, but the Dragon Elephant tribe couldn't. Ling Xiao had become the key to this battle. He and his demonic beast, Little Gold, had become the Dragon Elephant tribe's greatest hope. Let's not waste time. Let's begin. Dugu Shengjian landed on the ground and looked at Ling Xiao. "Let's get this over with, Little Gold," Dugu Shengjian said. "A long night can lead to many complications. Remember, kill that great sage from the Ministry of War. He was the highest-ranking general in the Sword Dynasty. Killing him would make it difficult for the Sword Dynasty to organize an effective battle. Don't worry, boss. Killing him will be as easy as slaughtering a chicken." Little Gold was already at the peak of the 3rd division of the life-seizing level. In terms of battle prowess, he was no weaker than Dugu Shengjian. Most likely, he would need more than 3 moves to kill a great sage from the Ministry of War. Dugu Shengjian had his reasons for being so confident. The great sage from the Ministry of War stepped forward. He was clad in golden battle armor and wielded an enormous sword. He looked like a war god on the battlefield, domineering and threatening. As he stood there, sword energy shot up into the sky, parting the dark clouds. He was like a sharp blade, a butcher's knife. The only reason he had become the great sage of the Ministry of War was because he had performed many meritorious deeds on the battlefield and had killed many enemies. "Come out and die, you vile creature," he said. "The Dragon Elephant tribe is running out of people to use." How laughable! Don't tell me you people from the Dragon Elephant tribe are livestock? Ha ha ha! The great sage of the Ministry of War laughed maniacally. Chapter 3176. You think it's funny? If you get defeated by a vile beast like me, you'll end up worse than an animal, won't you? Shai Jin slowly flapped its wings and flew to the middle of the battlefield, speaking in human language. In response to his words, the Sword Dynasty army went completely silent. The great sage of the Ministry of War's expression turned grim. "Vile beast, do you really think you can beat me? Killing you would be as easy as slaughtering a chicken." Little Gold's words completely enraged the great sage of the Ministry of War. A palm-sized bird actually dared to look down on him? "Calm down, you idiot," Dugu Shengjian said. "Do you think everyone else is an idiot? There are 3 things you shouldn't underestimate on the battlefield. 1 is a woman, 1 is an old man, and the last is a demonling. Those 3 either have special abilities or are terrifyingly strong. Otherwise, they would never send them out. Understand?" "Yes, sir," the great sage of the Ministry of War said. Although that was what the great sage of the Ministry of War said, inwardly he didn't think much of it. It was just a palm-sized bird. What was so amazing about it? The Dragon Mammoth tribe really didn't have anyone else. After all, no matter who they sent out, there was no way they could beat a 3rd division life-sizer like him. Although that was what he thought, he still had to give Dugu Shengjian some face. Originally, he hadn't even planned to use his martial soul, but now he was summoning his martial soul. Unexpectedly, it was a commander's tally. A commander's tally. Ling Xiao had never seen a martial soul like this before, and was very curious. Now that he had a commander's tally, the great sage of the Ministry of War suddenly felt like a commander of 3 armies. Standing there, he looked even more impressive. Little Gold, there's something strange about that martial soul. Be careful, Ling Xiao warned. Although Little Gold was definitely going to win, Ling Xiao didn't want him to get hurt. What if the Sword Dynasty didn't honor their bet and decided to keep fighting? The best thing to do was to preserve his fighting prowess. Don't worry, boss. I know what to do. I won't embarrass you. Xiao Jin turned around and said. Suddenly his body grew bigger. Before he was only the size of a hand, but now he was so large that he could blot out the sun. Its gigantic body shrouded the sunlight. The glaring light made it seem as if it had become a second sun. Golden Crow. At this moment, everyone realized that this palm-sized golden bird was no ordinary demonic beast. It can't be the Golden Crow. That kind of demonic beast has been extinct for a long time. It should be a bird with the Golden Crow's bloodline. Someone in the Sword Dynasty said. No matter what it is, be careful. Great sage of the Ministry of War. Don't lose. I'm sure you're well aware of the consequences of losing this battle. Dugu Shengjian continued to pressure the great sage of the Ministry of War. He believed in the strength of his subordinates, but he was afraid that his subordinates would be like him and underestimate the enemy. That would be terrible. Your Highness, don't worry. Whether it is the real Golden Crow or not, I will kill it today. I will not bring shame to the Sword Dynasty. The great sage of the Ministry of War finally got serious. The giant sword in his hand released a series of strange incantations. Cavalry attack. As the incantation flashed, the great sage of the Ministry of War roared. The martial soul behind him released a powerful energy. 100 cavalrymen rushed out of the void with spears in their hands and charged into the sky. Their target was none other than Little Gold. What an interesting martial soul, Little Gold said. Too bad you ran into me. Little Gold said disdainfully. His words completely enraged the great sage of the Ministry of War. His commander's medallion martial soul allowed him to command an army based on the strength of his own body, as well as the strength of his internal energy. His army was formed from true energy, and yet it contained the power of his martial soul. It was far stronger than an ordinary army and far more fearless. Little Gold was a trifling, vile creature, and yet he dared to look down on him? How could he possibly accept that? Infantry surround him. The great sage of the Ministry of War issued a second order. 1,000 infantrymen wearing heavy armor stepped into the air and surrounded Xiao Jin. The special effects aren't bad, Dugu Xingjian said. Too bad it won't work. Little Gold had been at Ling Xiao's side for a long time and had picked up some of Ling Xiao's bad habits. His frivolous disdain was infuriating to the extreme. Of course, that was all because of his true strength. The 100 cavalrymen were closing in. Little Gold waved his claws casually. Golden light flashed. 100 cavalrymen, powerful enough to kill a 3rd Division life-sizer, were gone. It was almost as if they had never existed. And yet, things weren't over yet. Little Gold opened his mouth and spat out a ball of fire. Those 1,000 infantrymen continued to struggle in the flames, screaming miserably. In the end, they stopped breathing. What? By this point, the great sage of the Ministry of War was truly terrified. This was because his proudest move had been so easily countered by someone else. You're next. My boss told me to end things quickly, so you're going to die. Flapping his wings, Little Gold shot toward the great sage of the Ministry of War. Crossbowman, kill him. The great sage of the Ministry of War brandished his great sword, and a host of crossbowmen appeared, unleashing arrows made of true energy that shot toward Little Gold. It's a good thing Little Gold is fighting this great sage of the Ministry of War. If it were me, I wouldn't be able to last more than a few moves. This great sage of the Ministry of War is very strong. I had a hard time dealing with his cavalrymen and infantry, much less his crossbowmen. Emperor Dracomamoth sighed as he watched the battle unfold. Although he had broken through to the third division of life seizing, he was still far from being a match for these old-timers. That said, the fact that Little Gold was able to suppress the great sage of the Ministry of War was even more shocking. It was as if such a powerful attack didn't even exist in front of him. "Are you tickling me or something?" Little Gold's voice suddenly rang out in the ears of the great sage of the Ministry of War. Countless arrows hit Little Gold, but none of them did anything to him. It was a complete suppression, a complete disdain for him. Finally, Little Gold's claws slammed into the great sage of the Ministry of War's head. In that moment, the great sage of the Ministry of War's eyes flickered with terror. He was a mighty great sage of the Ministry of War from the Sword Dynasty, and yet he wasn't even a match for some vile creature. In the moment of his death, he didn't even have time to scream before he was reduced to a puddle of pus by the terrifying heat. Little Gold shrank back down to the size of a hand, and then looked at the people from the Sword Dynasty with disdain. "Are you mocking me? Your great sage of the Ministry of War can't even compare to a vile creature like me. It seems you people really are complete pieces of trash. I can't believe the Sword Dynasty sent a piece of trash like this." Little Gold was throwing the same insults back at him. The people from the Sword Dynasty were furious, but there was nothing they could do. The great sage of the Ministry of War had lost, and all they could do was keep their mouths shut. Who could have predicted that the battle would end like this? Never could the people from the Sword Dynasty have predicted this. Never could the people from the Dracomamoth tribe have predicted this. Even Ling Xiao was surprised. Chapter 3177. Well done, Xiao Jin. Ling Xiao let Xiao Jin land on his shoulder and said with a smile, "Boss, we can finally fight after holding back for so long. But this opponent is too weak." Xiao Jin said with dissatisfaction, "This is not an ordinary fight. It concerns the life and death of the entire Dragon Elephant tribe. You'll have to suffer a little." Ling Xiao smiled and did not take the Sword Dynasty seriously. The two of them chatted and laughed, but the faces of the Sword Dynasty's people were as black as the bottom of a pot. The great sage of the Ministry of War. He was one of the top forces of the Sword Dynasty, but he was killed by a bird. What a disgrace. This is against the rules. Suddenly, someone shouted, "It's a fight between martial artists. What's the meaning of letting a demonic beast fight?" "That's right. This fight does not count." "Why? You don't want to admit defeat?" Ling Xiao said sarcastically, "It doesn't matter. Since you don't want to continue the bet, let's fight. We have nothing to lose anyway." The Sword Dynasty had lost a powerful sword saint in this fight. The Dragon Elephant tribe did not lose anything. Not only that, but Xiao Jin was also a powerful existence. In terms of top forces, both sides were on par. If they really fought, the Sword Dynasty would not have any advantage. "You just lost one round. What's there to be arrogant about? Do you think the Crown Prince and I will lose?" At this moment, the Poison Great Sage walked out and said coldly. In the local camp, the only person he was afraid of was Ling Xiao. Since his opponent was not Ling Xiao, no matter who it was, he would not be afraid. Therefore, he was sure that he could win this round. As for the third round, he knew Dugu Xingjian's strength too well. It was impossible for Ling Xiao to win against him. Therefore, he would let the Dragon Elephant tribe win the first round. There would be no problem if he won the next two rounds. He walked out of the battle formation and looked coldly at the Dragon Elephant Emperor. "Come, the number one warrior of the Dragon Elephant tribe. I would like to see what kind of ability you have to fight me." The Dragon Elephant Emperor looked at the Poison Great Sage without any fear in his eyes. There was only determination. "Ling Xiao, thank you very much. You're the one who helped us arrange this bet, and you're the one who let Xiao Jin win the first round. Even if I die in the second round, I must win. At the very least, I can't lose." The Draco Elephant Emperor knew that he was no match for the Poison Great Sage, but for the sake of the entire Draco-elephant tribe, he had to give it his all. Even if he died, he would drag the hyper-toxic Great Sage down to hell with him. He knew that the Sword Dynasty's army might not keep their word and withdraw. However, if he killed the Poison Great Saint, it would definitely weaken the Sword Dynasty's army. Even if the other party didn't keep their promise, they wouldn't dare to start a war easily. Even Sword Dynasty couldn't afford to lose 2 great saints in a row. After all, the Sword Dynasty had been suppressing the large and small sects and all the martial artists in the world. There were already a lot of people who were dissatisfied with them. The loss of their strength would inevitably lead to instability in their rule. When the time came for the world to fall into chaos, they would be miserable. Therefore, no matter what, this bet was the best way to fight. The Draco-elephant Emperor wanted to achieve the goal of the bet that Ling Xiao had arranged. Draco-elephant Emperor, why don't you just admit defeat in the second round? I'll do my best to defeat Dugashengjian. Ling Xiao suddenly said. He knew that the Draco-elephant Emperor had a low chance of defeating the hyper-toxic Great Saint. There was only a 20 to 30% chance. There was a high chance that he would be killed. Unless he admitted defeat in the beginning, there was no point in admitting defeat once the battle started. If he couldn't escape from the enemy's attack range, there was a high chance that he would be killed. He didn't want the Draco-elephant Emperor to take the risk. No. The Draco-elephant Emperor shook his head and said, "There are no cowards among the warriors of the Draco-elephant tribe. Even if we can't defeat him, we must fight. There are only warriors who die in battle. There are no warriors who surrender without a fight. Moreover, Ling Xiao, you don't have full confidence in defeating Dugashengjian, right?" "That's true. I don't have full confidence." Ling Xiao nodded. Ling Xiao didn't know much about Dugashengjian. In yesterday's battle, Dugashengjian only released his martial soul and took out his weapon. He didn't use any other abilities. As for whether or not he could defeat this opponent, he really had no confidence in his heart. "If possible, I don't want you to take the risk. Your talent is far greater than Dugashengjian's. As long as you work hard, you can easily surpass him in the future. Even if I die, you can avenge me. So it's a deal." The Draco-elephant Emperor smiled and walked towards the battlefield. This was probably the so-called heroic image of a hero who left and never returned. The Draco-elephant Emperor knew that he would die if he stepped out, but he still went to fight. As long as he could drag the hyper-toxic Great Saint into hell with him, he would die without regrets. Ling Xiao didn't persuade him anymore. He looked at the number 1 warrior of the Draco-elephant tribe with deep respect. "Don't worry, I won't let you die." Definitely. On the battlefield, the Draco-elephant Emperor and the hyper-toxic Great Saint stood on each side. The hyper-toxic Great Saint was still calm and reserved, but there was an incomparably terrifying aura around him. Although Ling Xiao had subdued him in the Forbidden Land, his confidence had been shaken. However, his confidence was not damaged. Especially when he was facing other opponents, he would not be afraid. After this day, there will be no more Draco-elephant Emperor. Poison Dragon. The hyper-toxic Great Saint didn't waste any more time talking. Instead, he exploded with the desire to do battle. A violet poison dragon stretched its head out from behind him, opened its mouth, and lunged toward the Draco-elephant Emperor. "Be careful," Yang Qi said. "Don't touch his attack. It's toxic." Ling Xiao warned. The hyper-toxic Great Saint's poison was so fierce that even a 3rd division life-sizer would be in trouble if they touched it. The only way to deal with it was if you had some special way to deal with it. For example, Ling Xiao. Therefore, when facing the hyper-toxic Great Saint, you either had to be completely subdued or you had to be completely passive. Even from a distance, the Draco-elephant Emperor transformed into his Draco-elephant beast soul. He unleashed a fist strike. The fist strike slammed into the poison dragon, shredding it to pieces. "I might not be as strong as you, hyper-toxic Great Saint, but that won't work on me. although the Draco Elephant Emperor wasn't as strong as the hypertoxic Great Saint. He was still a third division life-sizer. Did he just break through? The Dugu Shangjian, the Great Saint of Poisons, and the others all frowned at the power of the Draco Elephant Emperor's attack. Not only is he detoxified, but he's also broken through. This guy must have run into some top expert. Who could it be? The hypertoxic Great Saint looked over at Ling Xiao, but didn't think it was possible. Ling Xiao might be able to subdue his poison, but how could he possibly help someone break through? What are you thinking? Watch out for my Draco Elephant stomp. Roaring, the Draco Elephant Emperor transformed into an enormous Draco Elephant that stomped toward the Great Saint of Poisons. Chapter 30, 178. Ninefold Poison Dragon. The hypertoxic Great Sage glanced at the Draco Elephant Emperor coldly. The 9 poison dragons behind him charged towards the sky. Rumble. The Draco Elephant Emperor's foot collided with the 9 poison dragons. Purple poison spread everywhere. Back off. Don't breathe in the poison. At the same time, take the antidote I gave you. Ling Xiao ordered. Since Ling Xiao knew that the hypertoxic Great Sage was in the enemy's formation, he had to be prepared. The antidote was targeted at the hypertoxic Great Sage. It could neutralize the purple poison. However, it was a little powerless against the Great Poison Sage's red poison. Only Ling Xiao could resist that thing. Unless his cultivation base was stronger than the Great Poison Sage's, it would be very difficult to defeat him. Are you an idiot? Didn't you hear Ling Xiao's warning about my poison? The hypertoxic Great Sage sneered at the Draco Elephant Emperor. There were purple spots on the Draco Elephant Emperor's right foot. Of course I know. However, if I don't touch you, I won't even have the chance to defeat you. Why should I fight you? Today, let's see if your poison will kill me first, or if I kill you first. The hypertoxic Great Sage was unparalleled in terms of using poison. Even Ling Xiao was not as good as him. However, the Draco Elephant Emperor could completely crush the hypertoxic Great Sage in terms of close combat and strength. He wanted to kill the hypertoxic Great Sage as soon as possible, even though he was in danger of being poisoned. As he spoke, he attacked again. Draco Elephant Violent Fist. His terrifying fists were like giant meteorites as they smashed towards the hypertoxic Great Sage. They were densely packed and shrouded the entire battlefield. 1,000 poison dragons. The hypertoxic Great Sage did not flinch. He released 1,000 poison dragons from his body and rushed towards the Draco Elephant Emperor's fists. The battle between the two was in a stalemate. Looks like the old patriarch will win. The old shaman from the Draco Elephant tribe said excitedly. He saw the Draco Elephant Emperor's fists continuously landing on the hypertoxic Great Sage. The hypertoxic Great Sage was bleeding from the corner of his mouth. That was why he thought so. Yeah, I think it's strange too. The hypertoxic Great Sage is quite famous. Logically speaking, he shouldn't be so weak. Are we worrying for nothing? A Legion commander said, My father took the antidote that Ling Xiao gave him in advance, so he's not afraid of the poison Great Sage's poison. That poison Great Sage is probably out of luck. The Great Sage, red poison can also be resisted. Bai Fong asked Ling Xiao, I can't use the antidote, but I got a defensive magic treasure from Duguxiong that can resist the red poison. Ling Xiao said, I've already put it on the old patriarch. Doesn't this mean we Great Sage the Great Sage said. That should be the case, but I keep feeling that it's not very safe. What Ling Xiao was worried about was the poison Great Sage. Every time the hypertoxic Great Sage suffered a loss or was defeated, he would improve. The hypertoxic Great Sage had lost to Ling Xiao in the Forbidden Land. He might have a new breakthrough. This breakthrough was not only in his cultivation base. There were other aspects as well. Of course, he was worried, but so far, nothing unexpected had happened. He could wait and see. Uncle Wang, don't waste time. I can't wait to fight Ling Xiao. Do you want me to keep waiting? Dugu Shengjian suddenly said coldly. The hypertoxic great sage's aura changed as soon as he said that. The purple poison turned blood red in an instant. Bloody demon! The hypertoxic great sage roared, and all the poison dragons disappeared. The hypertoxic great sage's body was wrapped in a blood-red monster. Then the monster slapped the Draco Elephant Emperor with its huge palm. The Draco Elephant Emperor responded with a huge fist, but soon his body was wrapped in the blood-red poison. He fell to the ground. It's over. The hypertoxic great sage turned around and walked toward the Sword Dynasty's formation in disdain. In his opinion, even Dugu Shengjian had no chance of survival after being entangled by his red poison, let alone the Draco Elephant Emperor. When Dugu Shengjian fought him, he also relied on other methods to avoid the red poison. He would never dare to fight him head-on. Uncle Wang, he's not dead yet. The hypertoxic great sage had just taken a step when he heard Dugu Shengjian's voice. The hypertoxic great sage frowned and looked back, only to see the Draco Elephant Emperor standing up from the blood-red poison. The poison was completely absorbed by some kind of treasure on his body. Treasure? A high-quality Emperor-level defensive treasure? I didn't expect such a thing to exist in this remote place. The hypertoxic great sage's face darkened. That's from Dugu Xiong. Dugu Shengjian said indifferently, It seems that Ling Xiao was right. He did kill my brother. Hypertoxic great sage, you're at your wit's end. You're only good at poison. Today, I'll defeat you and return peace to the Draco Elephant tribe. The Draco Elephant Emperor suddenly charged forward. Draco Elephant devours the sun and moon, heaven and earth change. His body erupted with the most powerful force. He wanted to kill the hypertoxic great sage while the hypertoxic great sage was panicking. This was his most powerful attack. It was unparalleled. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Bloody troll, devours heaven and earth. The hypertoxic great sage had no intention of retreating in the face of the Draco Elephant Emperor's attack. He controlled the bloody troll to attack the Draco Elephant Emperor, as if he wanted to use this battle to determine the winner. Rumble. Terrifying collisions erupted on the battlefield. Sand and dust danced in the air and the sky darkened. No one could see what was happening on the battlefield. Everyone was nervous. That was because this battle was simply too important. It was so important that it could decide the fate of the Draco Elephant tribe. The Draco Elephant tribe had no hope of winning the third battle. Therefore, only by winning this battle would they be able to win the bet. They had pinned all their hopes on the Draco Elephant Emperor. The people of the Sword Empire naturally did not want to lose this battle. After all, if they lost this battle, there would be no need to fight the last battle. They would have to retreat from here. That would be too embarrassing. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Yi Zichen's expression changed drastically. The yellow sand and dust finally dispersed. The scene on the battlefield was exposed to everyone. The great sage of poison was covered in wounds from head to toe. Although the Draco Elephant Emperor was also injured, he was in a much better state than the hypertoxic great sage. The hypertoxic great sage was lying on the ground, unable to move. We won. The Draco Elephant tribe could not believe what they had seen. After a long while, they shouted excitedly, We won! We won! There's no need to die. However, Ling Xiao noticed something strange amidst the cheers. Dugu Shengjian did not look angry at all. Chapter 30, 179. Emperor Draco Elephant, watch out! Ling Xiao realized that something was wrong and hurriedly shouted at the Emperor Draco Elephant. Hearing Ling Xiao's shout, the Emperor Draco Elephant subconsciously took a few steps back. At that moment, the entire ground suddenly turned black. The great sage of poison, who had fallen, stood up again. His entire body was emitting black poison, and the scene was extremely terrifying. He has indeed made a breakthrough. This black poison is probably even more terrifying than the red poison. Even the ground has been contaminated. Ling Xiao frowned. At this moment, he realized that the Emperor Draco Elephant could not win. Ha ha, Ling Xiao, do you think you can always restrain me? I'm not a good-for-nothing who can't stand up again after losing. I have to thank you for allowing me to make a breakthrough in poison. I call this new state Death Kingdom. It's truly invincible poison. Even a little bit of it will cause immediate death. The great sage of poison laughed wildly. Originally, I didn't want to use this Death Kingdom because I haven't fully comprehended it. But you used the antidote and defensive Dharma treasure to break my poison dragon and bloody demon. I can only use it. Although there will be some backlash, it doesn't matter. I will kill the Emperor Draco Elephant. Tai Chi Eye, analyze. Ling Xiao activated his Tai Chi Eye and began to analyze the Death Kingdom black poison. Only by knowing oneself and the enemy could one win 100 battles. Not only did the Emperor Draco Elephant have to win this Death Kingdom black poison, but if they lost the bet, they also had to be on guard when the battle started. Emperor Draco Elephant, don't go near him. Just avoid him. He won't be able to maintain this state for long. After a while, Ling Xiao shouted. Ling Xiao's words made the great sage of poison frown. He did not understand how Ling Xiao knew the weakness of his state. This Death Kingdom black poison was extremely powerful and could increase his combat strength. It was also extremely poisonous, but because he had just comprehended it, it could only last for about a minute. After a minute, not only would the poison great sage lose all of his stats, but he would also fall unconscious. He did not mention this weakness because he was afraid of being targeted. However, Ling Xiao had seen through it. He had no choice but to seize the opportunity to attack and kill the Draco Elephant Emperor as soon as possible. However, with Ling Xiao's guidance, the Draco Elephant Emperor had already removed its gigantism and returned to the size of a human. Not only would it become a smaller target, but it would also move faster. He had been floating in the air, not daring to land on the ground. He was afraid that he would be contaminated by the black poison. That thing looked very terrifying. I'd like to see how long you can hide. 1 minute is enough for me to kill you. He thought to himself, but his hands were not slow. Black Dragon of Death. With a roar, the black poison turned into a huge black dragon and pounced towards the Draco Elephant Emperor. The black dragon's movement speed was extremely fast. The Draco Elephant Emperor could only dodge and run. Because the battlefield had been set, he could not leave the area. Once he did, he would lose. He could only dodge within this range. There were a few times when he was almost touched. No, I don't know how long the black poison of death can last. I'm afraid my father won't be able to hold on. Once he touches that thing, he will definitely die. The Draco Elephant Emperor was a little anxious. He saw the stones on the ground that had completely rotted. Even the ground had turned black and was emitting wisps of black gas. It was as depraved as the mud in the swamp. The black poison of death was truly terrifying. Admit defeat, old patriarch. You've done well. In the crowd, the warriors of the Draco Elephant tribe shouted. The Draco Elephant Emperor was their symbol and their backbone. Once the Draco Elephant Emperor died, the morale of the entire Draco Elephant tribe would plummet. No, I can't admit defeat. No, even if I die, I'll drag the poison great sage down with me. That was the Draco Elephant Emperor's original goal. If he could not use the antidote and defensive treasure to kill the poison great sage, he would rather die together with him. Because he knew that once he lost this battle, the Draco Elephant tribe would be doomed. Therefore, even if he had to die, he had to kill one of the enemy's generals. Without the poison great sage, the combat power of the Sword Dynasty's army would be greatly reduced. His eyes flashed with determination. Although he was still dodging, he seemed to have made a decision. It was impossible for him to admit defeat. Oh no, father wants to die together with the enemy. The Draco-Elephant Emperor saw the determination in the Draco-Elephant Emperor's eyes. He knew his father too well. Only when he had decided to die would he do that. In such a narrow battlefield, as long as the Draco-Elephant Emperor self-destructed, the Poison Great Sage would definitely die. However, the Draco-Elephant Emperor did not want to see such a situation. Stop, Senior Draco-Elephant Emperor. Isn't there a third battle? Don't fight recklessly. Bai Fong Ba Dao and the others were also shouting. They would rather fight and die together than to see the Draco-Elephant Emperor die alone. There had to be some companions on the road to hell. Boom! Suddenly, the Draco-Elephant Emperor's clothes were finally touched by the Black Dragon of Death. He took off his outer clothes in an instant. Under the corrosion of the black poison, the outer clothes instantly turned into ashes and disappeared. No, it's too far away. I have to get closer. The Draco-Elephant Emperor gritted his teeth. He did want to self-destruct, but now that he was far away, he was worried that the effect of self-destruction would not be good. If he died, it would be awkward if the enemy did not die. Therefore, he no longer hid in the distance and pounced on the Poison Great Sage. Ha ha ha, die, Poison Great Sage. I'll go to hell with you. At that moment, the Draco-Elephant Emperor hugged the Poison Great Sage. The black poison instantly spread throughout his body. However, he also self-destructed at the same time. A terrifying explosion sounded on the spot. Like a small sun, a mushroom cloud rose in the sky. Father! Old Patriarch! Senior Draco-Elephant Emperor! A mournful roar sounded in the wasteland. Looking at this incomparably tragic scene, everyone was incomparably shocked and exclaimed incomparably. The Draco-Elephant Emperor finally took the Poison Great Sage away. He used his own life to exchange for the life of the enemy's general. A draw? How boring! Dugu Shengjian stood up. On the battlefield, the auras of the two people could no longer be felt. Then they must have died together. Under such circumstances, it should be considered a draw. A draw? You're wrong. We've won this round. Under the situation where everyone was incomparably shocked, Ling Xiao walked out. Not only did the people of the Sword Dynasty not understand his words, the people of the Draco-Elephant tribe also did not understand. Ling Xiao did not care if they understood or not. He had already used Life Backtrack. His Life Backtrack could not only be used on himself, but also on others. The Draco-Elephant Emperor, who had self-destructed and was poisoned, no longer had any signs of life. However, the moment Ling Xiao used Life Recall, he was stunned. Chapter 3180. As the Poison Great Sage had died in battle, the poison on the field had completely disappeared. At this moment, the dragonesque Elephant Emperor was completely safe and sound. This is impossible. They all felt that it was impossible. The Sword Dynasty martial artists felt the same way. The dragonesque Elephant Tribe martial artists felt the same way. Only the dragonesque Elephant Emperor and Ling Xiao knew what had happened. The moment the dragonesque Elephant Emperor was resurrected, he felt Ling Xiao's inner force flowing in his body. Although he didn't know what Ling Xiao had done, he had indeed come back to life. We've won. We've really won this time. Great. We've won. After a long period of deathly silence, the Dragon Elephant divisions side finally erupted into thunderous cheers. Now that the dragonesque Elephant Emperor was alive and the Poison Great Sage was dead, there was no doubt that they had won. It was completely different from before. You're cheating, the Sword Dynasty martial artist shouted. The dragonesque Elephant Emperor is clearly dead. How can he be resurrected? Cheating? Then why don't you show me how to cheat? Ling Xiao mocked. It doesn't matter if I'm cheating or not. Dugu Shangjian looked coldly at Ling Shao and said, "You're up. If we win, we'll retreat. If we lose, the dragonesque elephant tribe will be wiped out. I don't want the dragonesque elephant tribe to surrender. We've already won 2 out of 3 rounds. Why should we continue? You're cheating." The dragonesque elephant roared. "So what if I'm cheating?" Dugu Shangjian mocked. "Do you really think that I'll keep my promise with you stray dogs? Ridiculous. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by the world?" Bai Fong scolded. "Laughed at? If I don't do anything and go back with my tail between my legs, that would be really embarrassing. On the contrary, I'll kill all of you. So what if I don't keep my promise? There are no outsiders here. Who knows?" Dugu Xingjian's face was full of ridicule. He thought that he would definitely win this bet, but he didn't expect Shao Jin to appear. He also didn't expect the dragonesque elephant emperor to be resurrected after self-destructing. This was too surprising. Since he had lost the bet, he could only do it by force, no matter what price he had to pay. Otherwise, he would really become the world's laughingstock. "Shameless! You are despicable! You're not trustworthy!" The people of the dragon elephant tribe roared. They thought that they had won the bet and the nightmare was about to end, but who knew that they would return to the situation of war? Suddenly they saw a hand rise. They all shut their mouths and looked at the owner of the hand. It was Ling Shao. "Everyone, there's no need to be so agitated. In fact, from the moment I made this bet, I knew that Dugu Xingjian wouldn't keep his word. It doesn't matter, I'll just beat him until he obeys. After all, the great sage of poison and the great sage of the Ministry of War are already dead. Their overall strength is not as good as ours. If they really start a full-scale war, we won't be afraid, right?" Ling Zhao's words made the people of the dragon elephant tribe calm down. That's right, although the other party didn't abide by the terms of the bet. However, they had lost 2 sword saints. As for the dragon elephant division, it could be said that they did not suffer any losses. The gamble had already served its purpose, so why ask for more? That's right. The enemy is shameless and untrustworthy. We've known for a long time. Why are you so agitated? Get ready for battle. The current situation is much better than the situation at the beginning. Kill the experts of the Sword Dynasty and protect our own land. Ling Zhao's words made the chaotic situation of the dragon elephant tribe disappear in an instant. Everyone was united and prepared to fight to the death, because there was no need to continue the gamble. Ridiculous, motley crew. Our Sword Dynasty has lost 2 pieces of trash. But so what? This queen alone can destroy all of you. Which one of you can stop me? Dugu Shengjian walked out. His whole body was shining with holy light. He was as dazzling as a holy sun who had been chosen by the gods. It's an innate sacred body. The dragon elephant emperor frowned. What's an innate sacred body? Ling Shao asked curiously. After coming to the Black Tortoise continent, he knew about the existence of a combat body, but he had never heard of an innate sacred body. There are always some geniuses who, at the beginning of their birth, have a unique body because of some bloodline factor. These bodies are born very strong. Not only do they have strong defense, but they also have various special abilities. This Dugu Xingjian has an innate sacred body. His innate sacred body is as strong as someone who cultivates a peak general class defensive martial discipline. Furthermore, his body's regenerative abilities have reached the pinnacle. Ordinary injuries can be healed in an instant. As for his other abilities, I'm not sure. But an innate sacred body is truly terrifying. Not even people in the same level of cultivation base as him can defeat him. According to the rumors, he once used his innate sacred body to defeat a 4th division life-sizer from the Ice Dynasty. The Dragon Elephant Emperor explained. The more he explained, the more everyone's heart sank. How could someone as strong as that possibly be defeated? Had all their hard work been for nothing? Now I'll repeat what I said last night. If you kill Ling Xiao, I'll spare your lives. I can let everyone from your dragon elephant tribe go and allow you to continue living on your own land. The only thing you have to do is pay tribute to the Sword Dynasty. What do you think? Very generous, right? Dugu Xingjian was very pleased with the expressions on the faces of the dragon elephant tribe. He loved to see people terrified, and it filled him with a sense of satisfaction and glory. That's impossible. I said the same thing last night, and I'll say it again today. Ling Xiao isn't just a benefactor of the dragon elephant tribe. He's someone we'll follow. If you think you're so strong, then make your move. Let's see if you can wipe out the entire dragon elephant tribe. Do you really think you're invincible because you have an innate sacred body? Do you really think a 3rd division life-sizer with 100% sea power is that strong? Emperor Dragon Elephant roared. Fight! 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 The dragon elephant tribe's 30,000 soldiers all shouted the same thing. Even if they died in battle, they wouldn't betray their benefactor. Fine, fine. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Dugu Shengjian was furious. Not only had he failed to gain anything from leading his army to the dragon elephant tribe, he had suffered heavy casualties. The flying lightning god, the great sages of the Ministry of War, and the great sages of poisons had all died. Although he said that those people were trash, he knew that they were the cornerstones of the Sword Dynasty. If any of them died in battle, it would be detrimental to the Sword Dynasty. There's no need to be so angry, Yang Qi said. I never said I wouldn't fight you. Ling Xiao waved his hand again, signaling for the dragon elephant tribe to stop shouting. If he could win this war without shedding any blood, he would definitely win. He didn't want to see blood shed. If he fought a direct battle, he was confident that the dragon elephant tribe would win. But at the same time, they would suffer heavy losses. Chapter 30, 181. I want to have a one-on-one duel with you. Ling Xiao looked at Dugu Xingjian with a confident smile on his face. His eyes were filled with determination. Even if he couldn't win, he had to challenge him. If he gave up because of fear, he wouldn't be able to reach the peak of martial arts in his lifetime. Moreover, Dugu Xingjian wasn't undefeatable in his eyes. He was indeed a peak, but there was still hope for him to reach it. Hearing Ling Xiao's words, everyone quieted down. In fact, when Dugu Shengjian refused to admit the bet, everyone except Ling Xiao no longer cared about the 3rd battle. No one from the dragon elephant tribe thought that Ling Xiao could win. On the other hand, those from the Sword Dynasty thought that it was meaningless even if they won. But now, Ling Xiao stood up and wanted to fight Dugu Shengjian. Ling Xiao, you've done enough. Even if we fight now, our dragon elephant tribe can win. There's no need to take the risk. The dragon elephant emperor stopped Ling Xiao and said. Ling Xiao shook his head and looked back at the crowd. If we fight, we can win, but we don't want to lose. But if I fight Dugu Shengjian one-on-one, no one will die. After saying that, he walked towards Dugu Shengjian. This battle wasn't just for the dragon elephant tribe, but also for him to surpass himself. On the path of martial arts, there were obstacles everywhere. If he wasn't careful, he might be stopped. If he couldn't defeat the obstacle, he wouldn't be able to move forward. He was going to the Eternal Palace and unify the mystic world. How could he admit defeat in front of a mere Dugu Shengjian? Many people wanted to persuade Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao exuded a strong sense of confidence and determination. They swallowed the words that were about to come out of their mouths. They couldn't say it. For someone who had already decided to fight to the death, persuading him was an insult to his determination. No wonder I felt that this guy would become my lifelong friend when we first met. His character is too similar to our dragon elephant tribe. Tenacious and indomitable, valiant and unafraid of death, never admitting defeat. Long Xiang sighed and then shouted, "Good brother, you must win. We'll be waiting for you to eat and drink." "Listen up, we can't let him die. The dragonesque elephant monarch looked back at the crowd and said, "Even if the entire dragonesque elephant tribe dies, we must protect him. This is how we treat our benefactor. This is how we treat our brave warriors." Yes, from top to bottom of the dragon elephant tribe, no one said no. They had been completely conquered by Ling Zhao's spirit. A person who was not related to the dragon elephant tribe was willing to fight to the death for them. Why couldn't they sacrifice themselves for this person? Ling Zhao was already standing in the middle of the battlefield. The demon dragon's sword in his hand was pointed at Dugu Shangjian. "If you have the guts, then fight me." Even if he was weaker than the enemy. However, Ling Zhao's aura would never lose to anyone. Frivolous, domineering, and proud. At this moment, he no longer cared about life or death. He only had one thought in his mind, and that was to defeat Dugu Shengjian. "Are you serious?" Dugu Shengjian revealed a mocking smile. "I'm afraid you still don't know my true strength. Last night, because I underestimated you, I was hurt by you and had nothing to say. But today, do you think I'll repeat the same mistake? So much nonsense. Are you going to fight or not? If you're afraid, then get lost and go back to your heavenly sword hall. Don't embarrass yourself outside." Ling Zhao said proudly, "Bastard, what are you talking about? How dare you disrespect our crown prince? Kill him, your highness. Destroy him. Tear him into pieces." Although Dugu Xingjian knew how powerful Ling Zhao was, the others in the Sword Dynasty did not. They only saw a 16 or 17-year-old boy who dared to look down on their crown prince, the Heavenly Sword Hall Master. This was something they could not tolerate. "There's no need for your highness to do it. I'll kill him." Without waiting for Dugu Xingjian to speak, the great sage of the Ministry of Works suddenly charged at Ling Zhao. No, Dugu Shengjian wanted to stop him, but it was too late. The great sage of the Ministry of Works wanted to take the credit. He wanted to defend the honor of the Sword Dynasty and their crown prince by killing Ling Zhao. A mocking smile appeared on Ling Zhao's face. The great sage of the Ministry of Works was weaker than the great sage of the Ministry of War, and Xiao Jin's strength was inferior to Ling Zhao's. The great sage of the Ministry of War was easily killed by Xiao Jin. The great sage of the Ministry of Works ending was obvious. When Dugu Shangjian wanted to save him, he no longer had the chance. A yin ghost suddenly appeared in the void. A cold dagger cut the great sage of the Ministry of Works' throat. The pitiful great sage of the Ministry of Works turned into a corpse and fell to the ground before he could reach Ling Zhao. "Dead. Trash. You think you're worthy of fighting me?" Ling Zhao sneered at the great sage of the Ministry of Works' corpse, then turned to Dugu Shengjian. "You have no choice but to fight now. Of the 4 sword saints sent by the Sword Dynasty, you're the only one left. Do you think an all-out war would be of any use to you? All right, since you want to fight, I'll fulfill your wish. I'll show you what a true genius is." Dugu Shengjian finally stepped into the fray. The great sage of the Ministry of Works' death was the catalyst. Dugu Shengjian was forced into a corner. In a chaotic battle, he might have to face the combined attacks of Ling Zhao, the dragonesque Elephant Emperor, and Xiao Jin. He might not be able to win then. Although his subordinates could kill many of the dragonesque Elephant Tribe's warriors, it was meaningless to him. In a one-on-one fight, he was fully confident that he could kill Ling Zhao. As long as Ling Zhao died, the dragonesque Elephant Tribe would lose their backbone. Their defeat would be inevitable. Moreover, according to Dugu Xingjian's speculation, the formation was most likely set up by Ling Zhao. Before Ling Zhao's arrival, the formation hadn't been there, but after Ling Zhao's arrival, the formation had suddenly appeared. In addition, he had heard people mention that Ling Zhao, who was on the bounty list, was indeed good at setting up formations, carefully weighing the gains and losses. This was really an opportunity for him. As long as he killed Ling Zhao, everything would become simple. Before the battle, I want to tell you something. Dugu Shengjian suddenly said, "Your last words." Ling Xiao said indifferently, "You know 9 Defiance Falling Moon, right?" Dugu Shengjian said with a smile, "Of course." "That's right. I'm sure you know the true situation of 9 Defiance. In fact, it's an organization created by our old ancestor to let people like you who hate the 9 Supremes join. Then they use you and toy with you. Unfortunately, Falling Moon discovered some clues and wanted to betray the old ancestor. In the end, the old ancestor sent him into the bloodthirsty Sword Mound. Every day, he has to suffer a fate worse than death. Hee hee, don't you find it exciting?" Chapter 3182. Dugu Xingjian's words caused unsightly expressions to appear on the faces of the Baifeng, Dragon Mammoth, Domineering Blade, and the others. However, it was at this point that Ling Xiao slashed out with the Devil Dragon Sword. A 10-meter wide beam of sword energy slashed toward Dugu Xingjian. Ruoyuanbul. Although the attack didn't hurt Dugu Xingjian, it did jolt the Baifeng and the others out of their stupor. "What a boring trick," Dugu Xingjian said. "You're just trying to mess with me, aren't you? Don't tell me you're scared. I can't believe you're going to resort to such despicable tricks." Ling Xiao sneered. "If you're lying, I'll kill my way to the imperial capital of the Sword King dynasty and demand an explanation. And if you're telling the truth, I'll kill my way to the Sword King dynasty. You probably don't know that your casual words could lead to the destruction of your imperial house. I've already destroyed more than one imperial house." "You, how arrogant," Dugu Shengjian said with a frown. Although the sword attack just now hadn't hurt him, it had put him on guard. After all, it was much stronger than Ling Xiao's attack from the day before. How could Ling Xiao have gotten so much stronger in one night? "So what if I'm arrogant?" Ling Xiao said, looking at Dugu Xingjian with even more confidence. Dugu Shengjian had tried to use words to make him lose his will to fight, which was a sign of cowardice. If he was truly confident, he wouldn't have resorted to such laughable tricks. "Fine. I'll make sure you don't get arrogant soon enough," Dugu Shengjian said, his body glowing with white light. Today he had unleashed his sage physique before the fight, and didn't want to make the same mistake again. He unleashed his sage physique. His power surged, and he broke through to the 3rd division of the life-seizing level. He now had the fighting prowess of a 4th division life-sizer. Heaven and earth changed colors. The lands quaked. A cold, somber aura radiated from his forehead. "Do you still think you can fight me now?" Dugu Shengjian said with a cold laugh. "Of course. You untrustworthy piece of trash." Ling Xiao pointed his middle finger at Dugu Shengjian. In the profound world, there was only one meaning for a middle finger, and that was humiliation and disdain. "You're courting death." In that instant, the Dugu's sacred sword almost exploded. He was the high and mighty crown prince of the Sword Dynasty and the hall master of the Heavenly Sword Hall. However, he was humiliated by Ling Xiao. Who would be able to endure this? At this moment, he only had one thought, and that was to kill Ling Xiao. A streak of white light flashed past without any delay. In an instant, he was already in front of Ling Xiao. With a point of his finger, the dazzling sword light pierced towards Ling Xiao's forehead. As expected, the Dugu Xingjian at full strength is ridiculously fast. If Ling Xiao only dodged the moment Dugu Sheng's sword moved, then he definitely wouldn't have been able to dodge this attack. His opponent's speed was extremely fast. He was already on par with him. In a passive situation, he couldn't dodge at all. Fortunately, he had the Tai Chi eye and predicted what Dugu Shengjian was going to do. Therefore, before his opponent made a move, he had already made his move, evading sword light steps. Like a sword light, it was so fast that it was impossible to catch. In an instant, he disappeared from his original spot. Bang! Dugu Xingjian's finger didn't hit Ling Xiao, but it hit the ground behind Ling Xiao. In that instant, A deep pit with a diameter of 4 to 5 meters was blasted out of the ground. There were also scorch marks around the deep pit. What a terrifying attack power! But Ling Xiao's speed is even faster. Dugu Shangjian looked coldly at Ling Xiao. I didn't expect that your evading sword light steps would advance to greater mastery overnight. Your innate talent is indeed shocking, but the more it is so, the more this prince wants to kill you. In this world, there is no need for two equally outstanding geniuses. You must die. The one who will die will not be me, but you. Whoosh! Having evaded Dugu Xingjian's attack, Ling Xiao didn't just flee. Instead, he launched a new attack. Under everyone's gaze, he turned into a beam of sword light and descended from the sky, piercing toward Dugu Xingjian's head. 9 Snakes Beast Soul Transformation. 9 Snakes Venom Domain. Blood Red Hypervenom. In the blink of an eye, the entire battlefield was filled with blood red poison. Ling Xiao's 9 Snakes Venom Domain wasn't as strong as the great sage of poison's kingdom of death, black venom, but he could unleash blood red poison. Not even Dugu Shengjian dared to say that he wasn't afraid of it. Although the poison couldn't kill Dugu Shengjian, it was definitely enough to make him suffer. Ordinary First Division life seizers would definitely die if they touched the blood red toxins. Even a Second Division life sizer would have to use about 70% of their internal energy to suppress the poison. Normally speaking, a Third Division life sizer would have to expend about 50% of their internal energy to suppress the poison. Of course, Dugu Shengjian was different. Even still, he had to use 10% of his internal energy to suppress the 9 Snakes Venom Domain. In other words, he was only using 90% of his full power. Of course, that wasn't the end of it. Blood Red Plague. The 9 Snakes Venom Domain was infused with the Blood Red Plague. The Blood Red Plague was even more terrifying than the 9 Snakes Venom Domain. Even Dugu Shengjian had to use 20% of his internal energy to suppress it. Ling Xiao's 2 moves had caused Dugu Shengjian to lose 30% of his power. 30% of one's strength was already heaven-defying in a battle between 2 powerhouses. The 9 Snakes Venom Domain combined with the Blood Red Plague. Dugu Shengjian could sense his own blood and energy growing restless. He had no choice but to use some of his internal energy to suppress it. Otherwise, the Blood Red Hypervenom or the Blood Red Plague would be enough to kill him. After greatly weakening Dugu Xingjian's strength, Ling Xiao unleashed his killer move. As of this moment, he had transformed into the everlasting Heavenly Rat. This was his most powerful beast soul transformation. In his everlasting Heavenly Rat form, he didn't use the sword light steps, but rather the earth-span golden light. Although the earth-span golden light consumed a lot of energy, it was still much faster than the sword light steps. After all, it was a heaven-defying divine ability on the same level as the blood red hypervenom Skaven. As long as he used the earth-span golden light, no one in the life-seizing level would be able to catch him. Overlord Sword of the Monarch, shattering black tortoise prefecture. Ling Xiao was using the first stance of the Overlord Sword of the Monarch. That was because the first stance took less time. Although it wasn't as powerful, he had to make haste. Otherwise, if Dugu Shengjian reacted, everything would be for naught. Ling Xiao arrived like a ghost amidst the poisonous fog that filled the sky. The pitch-black demonic dragon sword was the blade of death. It stabbed directly toward Dugu Xingjian's head. Boom! Crack! A terrifying voice exploded in the void. Ling Xiao's devil dragon sword actually struck Dugu Shengjian. However, it didn't hit his head, but rather his shoulder. Dugu Shengjian had managed to avoid being hit in the most critical moment. He was far more powerful than Ling Xiao had imagined. Chapter 30, 183. Ling Xiao's sword left a deep gash on Dugu Xingjian's shoulder. Dugu Xingjian's left arm was almost completely severed. A terrifying blast of energy dispersed the toxic mist, leaving the onlookers looking on in shock. What's going on? How could his attack be so strong? He's only a first division life-sizer. How could he pierce an innate sage body? That's a body that's as strong as a peak general class defensive technique. No, wait. That guy's attack power is no less than that of a third division life-sizer. No wonder he killed the great sage of the Ministry of Works with one move. At first, the people from the Dragon Mammoth tribe had assumed that Ling Xiao had challenged Dugu Xingjian to a fight because he wanted to imitate Emperor Dragon Mammoth's self-detonation. There was no way he could win. The people from the Sword Dynasty had mocked Ling Xiao for overestimating himself. But the great sage of the Ministry of Works had been killed, and Dugu Xingjian had almost lost an arm. Now, they didn't dare to underestimate Ling Xiao. Not even Dugu Xingjian dared to say that he was completely confident in being able to kill Ling Xiao. Dugu Xingjian was starting to get a bit nervous. His self-confidence was slipping. Give him enough time, and he's going to become even more terrifying than the Crown Prince. Although none of the Sword Dynasty martial artists said it aloud, they were all worried. TCH, Ling Xiao said, backing up. I was so close. You detestable bastard, Dugu Xingjian said. I tried so hard to defend myself, but in the end, I fell for your evil scheme. But the most you can do is use this method to weaken this prince's strength. Considering how strong you are, I could kill you with only 50% of my power. Although Dugu Xingjian said those words, inwardly he was shocked. He had been very careful, and yet Ling Xiao had still managed to sneak up on him. That said, his sage body was incredibly powerful. Even though Ling Xiao's sword had nearly severed his arm, the wound was still healing at a visible speed. Evil scheme, huh? You can say whatever you want, but I still have a lot of tricks up my sleeve. You better be careful. Ling Xiao chuckled. Brat, don't be complacent. You've worked hard to hurt me, but you can't compare to my holy body's powerful recovery ability. You don't have any advantage against my innate saint body. Dugu Xingjian said coldly, Today I will kill you no matter what. I won't give you any chance to harm the warriors of my Sword Dynasty. You've said that more than once, but I'm still alive and well. Ling Xiao mocked. Holy sword art, endless judgment. Dugu Xingjian didn't waste any more words. He took out his sacred sword and pointed it at Ling Xiao. Above the saint sword, there was a terrifying aura like that of a storm. Then, wrapped in his anger and fighting spirit, he charged towards Ling Xiao. His entire being was like a sharp blade that could pierce through everything. He was unstoppable and invincible. Tyrannical sword of the monarch. Break through the black tortoise state. Ling Xiao did not retreat. Instead, he unleashed his tyrannical sword technique once again. Facing Dugu Xingjian's attack, his demon dragon sword also stabbed out continuously. Sword light was released, enveloping the entire battlefield. Ding ding dang dang. Boom 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 boom. The swords collided with each other. The sound of tearing could be heard continuously. The two of them started a crazy battle in the void. In terms of moves, both of their swordsmanship were mid-level general realm martial arts techniques. In terms of the exquisiteness of the moves, Ling Xiao was superior. However, in terms of power, the Dugu Xingjian was indeed slightly stronger. All in all, the two of them were evenly matched for the time being. This made the spectators on both sides so shocked that they didn't know what to say. Dugu Xingjian had already used his innate saint physique, but he still couldn't suppress Ling Xiao. This was as shocking as the sun rising from the west. However, he knew his own suffering. Although it seemed that both sides were evenly matched, Ling Xiao was very clear in his heart. Thanks to his sage body, the Dugu Xingjian's attacks were now comparable to those of a 4th division life-sizer. Every collision was actually very strenuous for him. The terrifying sword qi penetrated his body through the demon dragon sword. It made him feel very uncomfortable. His body felt like it was about to be torn apart. However, he gritted his teeth and persevered. He couldn't lose. If he did, he would die. Although it was difficult, the Dugushinjin's attacks were also causing his sea of power to climb madly. By now, it was at 50%, and it was still climbing. With every 10% increase in energy, his strength would increase by 1-fold. To him, that was his hope for victory. He was confident that as long as he could break through to the second division of life seizing, he would be able to kill the Dugushinjian even without using the full power of his martial soul. Die. The Dugushinjian said, taking advantage of the fact that Ling Xiao's energy and blood were in turmoil, causing him to slow down. The Dugushinjian's sword was already stabbing toward Ling Xiao's neck. An expert like him couldn't possibly let go of any opportunity to kill Ling Xiao. As long as there was a chance, he would take it. There was no way he would allow Ling Xiao to live. It wasn't just for the glory of the Sword Dynasty. It was for his own future. He was a terrifying genius, and it was only a matter of time before he was surpassed. It's over. You've been working hard, Ling Xiao. Unfortunately, you're still not a match for me. Over. In the face of the Dugushinjin's attack, Ling Xiao's lips twisted into a cold, unyielding smile. He had to admit that the Dugushinjin was strong, and that each of his attacks was so terrifying that Yang Qi could sense the pressure of a true expert. But if the Dugushinjin thought he could kill Ling Xiao because of that, he would be looking down on him. Crack! The Dugushinjin stabbed into Ling Xiao's body, right at the edge of his heart. In fact, it was so powerful that it almost sliced off Ling Xiao's left arm and half of his body. Of course, Ling Xiao had managed to avoid being hit in the most critical of moments, just as the Dugushinjin had done earlier. Thanks to the power of the sword, Ling Xiao flew out of the way of the Dugushinjin's sword net and landed in a relatively safe place. However, his arm was hanging limply, and his flesh was covered with blood, which was a shocking sight to behold. Blood flowed out of the wound. Ling Xiao looked incredibly miserable, and his face was ashen. Ling Xiao! Brother! Benefactor! Cries of alarm could be heard from the dragon elephant tribe. Many of them couldn't bear to watch. Their faces were incomparably pale. The dragon elephant emperor was already prepared for an all-out war. Even if the dragon elephant tribe had to die, they couldn't let Ling Xiao die in battle. Everyone stop! Ling Xiao's roar exploded in the sky above the battlefield. Everyone from the dragon elephant tribe stopped, and their eyes were red. They were angry but also moved. They couldn't accept this. If they were a little stronger, they wouldn't have to watch Ling Xiao suffer, and couldn't do anything to help. Chang Qingqing, Phantom, and Cold Plum were already crying. Women were soft-hearted. Chapter 30, 184. Enough! You've done enough! The Dracophant Emperor roared. Our Dracophant tribe can't let you suffer alone. He was looking forward to Ling Xiao defeating Dugushinjin. However, the title of the #1 genius of the Sword Dynasty was not given for nothing. Dugushinjin's strength was not just for show. He was truly powerful, truly despairing. Although Ling Xiao was also a genius, he had started too late. He was still no match for Dugushinjin. Is it painful? This pain is nothing. Facing the death of your loved ones and being powerless, that's the real pain. Don't worry. I promise to help you defeat your opponent. I won't go back on my words. Blood was still flowing out. However, Ling Xiao's voice was still as confident as ever. His body was not tall and straight, but it was as strong and upright as a mountain range. Stubborn. Dugushinjin sneered. Is that so? Speaking of which, I have to thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have known that the black tortoise divine physique could be used to heal injuries. Ling Xiao sneered. He stepped on the ground, and the power of the earth continuously seeped into his body from his feet. The life force was continuously injected into his broken left arm. Then he swallowed a heaven tribulation pill at the same time. His injured body began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. This speed was even faster than Dugu Xingjian's innate saint physique. How can this be? Dugu Xingjian's eyes narrowed into slits. Suddenly, he rushed toward Ling Xiao again, trying to interrupt Ling Xiao's healing. Boom! Ling Xiao's body was pierced into pieces. However, Ling Xiao reappeared on the other side. Golden Phoenix Incarnation. I didn't expect you to have cultivated the Golden Phoenix Incarnation to perfection. You can switch between your original body and incarnation at will. Dugu Shengjian frowned. He knew that he had lost the best opportunity to kill Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's injuries had basically healed. What's going on with your body? Dugu Xingjian asked. Who knows? Maybe I'm some kind of innate spirit body. Ling Xiao smiled. What a load of nonsense. Dugu Shengjian knew that Ling Xiao was playing with him, which made him even angrier. Really? If you want to know the truth, then defeat me. Otherwise, I'm afraid you can only go to hell with regret. Ling Xiao still had that indifferent smile on his face. It was as if the person standing in front of him wasn't Dugu Shengjian, who had almost killed him, but a very ordinary opponent. Ha ha, ha ha ha, are you going to hell? You're really good at joking. Amidst his wild laughter, Dugu Xingjian's aura erupted once more. The blood-red poison was actually forced out by him. At this moment, he could already use 80% of his combat strength to deal with Ling Xiao. During the battle with Dugu Xingjian, Ling Xiao's strength continued to rise. The energy in his cultivation had already reached 70%. In the battle with Ling Xiao, the Dugu Xingjian had also evolved. He no longer feared the blood-red poison. The powerful aura set off gusts of wind, blowing the troops on both sides. Looking at Dugu Xingjian's powerful aura, Ling Xiao didn't shrink back. There was only determination and decisiveness in his eyes. His blood was boiling. Boom! The soaring sword intent pierced through Dugu Xingjian's aura and pierced through the dark clouds in the sky. The strength of others could suppress him, but the battle intent and aura couldn't make him submit. That terrifying sword intent stirred up thunder between heaven and earth. A fierce aura was constantly emitted from the sword. At that moment, Dugu Xingjian actually felt a stabbing pain on his skin. He felt as if his soul was being placed under a butcher's knife. The sword is the sharpest existence. It can cut through everything. It can pierce through everything. My sword intent is invincible. Kill! Ling Xiao roared, holding the demon dragon sword in his hand. He actually took the initiative to attack Dugu Xingjian. Retreating wasn't a solution. Retreating would never allow one to win. Only by taking the initiative to attack could one gain the upper hand. That incomparably powerful sword intent caused Dugu Xingjian to frown. He felt a chill in his heart. This child's sword is a real sword. It's not a weapon. It's slaughter and destruction. If this fellow isn't eliminated, I'm afraid the sword dynasty will never have peace. Such a thought flashed through Dugu Xingjian's mind like lightning. He tightened his grip on the saint's sword once more before thrusting it out with an even more powerful move. Holy sword art, King's judgment. Compared to the endless judgment, the King's judgment was obviously more powerful. Although the range of the sword chi was smaller, its power had increased by many times. The previous endless judgment had almost killed Ling Xiao. Dugu Shengjian didn't believe that the King's judgment couldn't tear Ling Xiao into pieces. King's battle intent, King's judgment, King's sword chi. It was as if everything between heaven and earth was controlled by Dugu Shengjian. He was the king. He was the king who controlled everything, whether it was the power, speed, or ingenuity of the attack, other than the two from the Eternal Life Palace. This was the most powerful move Ling Xiao had ever seen. The magnificence of this sword strike filled Emperor Dracomamoth with a sense of powerlessness. Even if they tried to save Ling Xiao right now, they wouldn't be able to. Emperor Dracomamoth knew that from the moment Ling Xiao and Dugu Xingjian began fighting, it was destined that a victor would be decided. Otherwise, no one would be able to interfere. And yet, in the face of such a powerful attack, Ling Xiao's sword intent didn't shrink back. In fact, it grew even stronger. The sword pierced through the king's heaven and earth. Both of them are so strong. It seems no one can interfere in this fight. Unless one side loses, we'll just have to watch the show. Although they felt somewhat helpless, that was the reality. Even Emperor Dracomamoth, a 3rd Division life-sizer, had no choice but to accept the situation. The Devil Dragon's sword energy continued to grow, and it only grew stronger. It stabbed toward the 9 heavens. Not even Dugu Xingjian's monarch sword energy could do anything to stop it. Second form of the monarch hegemon sword. Sword destroys the 9 heavens. Ling Xiao finally unleashed his own move. It was a move he had created himself, derived from the first form of the monarch hegemon sword, but even stronger. The terrifying Devil Dragon's sword shattered the monarch sword energy, destroying the king's heaven and earth as it tried to drag him down from his throne. Ruiwa. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the 2 swords finally collided in the void. It was as if the entire world was shaking. The power was so terrifying that neither Dugu Shengjian nor Ling Xiao could control it. The ground split open. Thunder rumbled. The surrounding trees were shattered one by one. This wasn't a fight between 2 people. It was a fight between 2 gods of destruction. King's judgment, domineering and insufferably arrogant. Sword destroys the 9 heavens, domineering and insufferably arrogant. 2 domineering geniuses were clashing. Their domineering auras surged toward the 9 heavens. Dugu Xingjian actually felt soaring firmaments, sword intent seeping into his body. Chapter 3185. Scars actually appeared on Dugu Xingjian's sacred body, and these scars that were burned by the strange fire couldn't heal in a short period of time. He was furious. At that moment, the shackles of a genius seemed to have been broken. Dugu Xingjian evolved again. The bloody plague could only hold back 10% of his strength. The current Dugu Shengjian could use 90% of his strength to deal with Ling Xiao. He was very glad that he met an opponent like Ling Xiao. In the past, he had fought with others. His opponents were either too strong or too weak to help him at all. Therefore, although he was powerful, he always felt as if something was shackled and he couldn't fully use his hands and feet. Today, facing Ling Xiao, he erupted. The full release of 90% of his strength was much stronger than 80% of his strength. In the end, Ling Xiao was still inferior. He was once again sent flying by Dugu Xingjian's sword. Although there were no external injuries this time, cracks had already appeared on his internal organs. Cough, cough. A simple cough actually coughed out fragments of his internal organs. Ling Xiao couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly. Ever since he came to the Black Tortoise Continent, he hadn't suffered such a serious injury for a long time. Fortunately, Dugu Xingjian's attack also caused his potential to increase explosively. From 70% of his cultivation to 90% of his energy. The moment he landed, he directly used the Golden Phoenix incarnation. Because Dugu Shengjian didn't stop attacking. He wanted to kill him. His Golden Phoenix incarnation had close to 90% of his combat strength. Although it was still not a match for Dugu Xingjian, it shouldn't be a problem to stall Dugu Xingjian for a while. Take this sword. Ling Xiao gave his demon dragon sword to the Golden Phoenix incarnation to use. It was to create an opportunity for himself to heal his injuries. Enough, it's enough. It's not that you can't do it. It's that Dugu Xingjian is too strong. We're already very satisfied that you've done this for our Dragon Elephant tribe. Dragon Elephant roared loudly. He really couldn't bear to see Ling Xiao being seriously injured by Dugu Xingjian again and again. A person only had one life. If he died, it would really be gone. Ling Xiao was in the same situation now. He had already used life rewind on the Draco Elephant Emperor. Now that the cooldown was not over, he could not use it again. This divine ability's cooldown time was 3 hours. There was no way Duge Shangjian would give him 3 hours. Therefore, Ling Xiao was really in danger right now. It could be said that he was on the brink of death. But could he retreat? No way. Behind him were his brothers. Behind him were his future subordinates. How could he, the one who had made such a grand promise to unify the profound world, step aside? What's more, they weren't at the end of their rope yet. Fight! I must continue to fight. Back then, even when the people from the Eternal Life Palace wanted to kill him, he did not retreat. Today, he definitely wouldn't. There was nothing that could bend his spine. Unless he died, there was no way he could lower his head. You're really hard to deal with, Duge Shengjian said with a frown. He wanted to kill Ling Xiao as quickly as possible, but Ling Xiao's Golden Phoenix incarnation was not to be trifled with. If he didn't do anything, the Golden Phoenix incarnation would definitely kill him. Most troublesome of all was the fact that the sword energy and deviant flame were still wreaking havoc inside of him. Then there was the blood gore plague. Duge Shengjian was in a lot of pain. Truth be told, if it weren't for his sage body, he would already be lying in a pool of his own blood, dead. Today he was in a very bad mood. Normally speaking, no 3rd Division life-sizer would be able to survive his monarch's judgment. But Ling Xiao was only in the 1st Division of life-seizing. And yet, Duge Shengjian couldn't kill him. It was a complete and utter humiliation. What exactly was Ling Xiao capable of? How could he be so terrifying? The people from the Sword Dynasty were already starting to panic. If it weren't for Duge Shengjian, would they really have won this fight? Most likely, Ling Xiao would have slaughtered them all. How could this Ling Xiao be so strong? He's only in the 1st Division of life-seizing. How could he survive His Highness the Crown Prince's monarch's judgment? They say the brat is from some remote country. But who would believe that? Don't tell me he's a disciple from one of the major organizations in the 9 Supremes. Humph. It doesn't matter how strong he is. Look at him. He's not a match for His Highness the Crown Prince. It doesn't matter who he is. He's going to die today. That's true. Thankfully, the brat is still young. If he were the same age as His Highness the Crown Prince, then don't talk nonsense. How could he possibly compare to His Highness the Crown Prince? Despite what they said, the people from the Sword Dynasty were already deeply afraid of Ling Xiao. You used 90% of your power, Duge Shengjian said. I don't think you're as strong as you make yourself out to be. As he recovered, Ling Xiao looked over at Duge Shengjian with a cold smile. The combination of a heavenly tribulation pill and a complete healing pill, and the terrifying regenerative abilities of the Emperor-class Xuanwu divine body. Ling Xiao's regenerative abilities were far superior to Duge Shengjian's. Although he was seriously injured, Ling Xiao was growing more and more confident as the fight went on. Duge Shengjian was getting stronger, and yet Duge Shengjian was getting even stronger. If he broke through, Duge Shengjian would be defeated beyond the shadow of a doubt. The problem now was that he had to deal with Duge Shengjian's full power. Duge Shengjian seemed capable of expelling the blood rage plague from his body. Duge Shengjian wasn't bragging when he said he had a saintly physique. It's going to be hard for me to deal with his full power, but as long as I can hold on, my cultivation base will definitely break through. When that happens, it'll be my home turf. Ling Xiao knew full well that the most important thing right now was whether or not he could block Duge Shengjian's most powerful attack. If he did, he would live. If he couldn't, he would die. Finally, Duge Shengjian stood up. His injuries had healed. Moreover, his combat prowess had also increased by several times. After all, the energy in his cultivation, had increased to 90%. On the other side, Duge Xingjian had also destroyed Ling Xiao's golden phoenix incarnation. It would take some time for the incarnation to condense, so it couldn't be used for the time being. Duge Xingjian took a deep breath. He suddenly roared. The blood rage plague was actually forcibly expelled from his body by Duge Xingjian's white energy. A layer of sheep fat, white, jade-like luster appeared on his body. Ha! Ling Xiao, I have to thank you again. For many years, my innate saint body had been stuck at the peak of the general realm, unable to step into the king realm. Today, it was you who brought me the threat of death. You brought me great pressure. You also stimulated my desire to keep moving forward. Now, my saint body has stepped into the king realm. It has completely advanced to the king realm. What else can you use to fight me? Hearing these words, everyone on the Sword Dynasty's side shouted with all their might. They were incomparably excited. Chapter 3186. One had to know what a king-level saint physique meant. Even in the entire 9 Supremes, it was suffocatingly powerful. After all, the strongest defensive martial art in the Sword Dynasty was only of high general level. Duge Xingjian was a true god's favored son. He was truly protected by the immortal court. He couldn't win. It was over. So what? Amidst their despair, Ling Xiao's voice rang out once more. So what? Even in the face of a king-level saint physique, Ling Xiao didn't give up. He was prepared to continue the battle. The people of the Dragon Elephant tribe looked at Ling Xiao. Their despairing expressions were replaced with hope. Yes, the people fighting there hadn't given up yet. How could they, the onlookers, give up so easily? Ling Xiao will win. The Dragon Elephant tribe roared with the loudest voice in their lives. Win! 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 The 30,000 warriors of the Dragon Elephant tribe roared. They couldn't participate in the battle, but at least they couldn't fall behind in their cheers. Do you see, Duge Xingjian? Behind me are 30,000 warriors of the Dragon Elephant tribe. They are fighting to defend their honor and their lives. This battle is more important to me, but it's also more important that I win. Your determination, compared to mine, is far too lacking. I will win this battle. Ling Xiao looked at Duge Xingjian and said loudly, I'm not as crazy as you. To be honest, if we weren't enemies, I would admire you. You didn't retreat in the face of a powerful enemy. This is really awe-inspiring, but I'll still kill you. The next move is the strongest move I can unleash under 100% of my power. It's also the last move of the Holy Sword Art. You deserve to die under this move. Perhaps your name will be left in the history of the Sword Dynasty. Then, Duge Xingjian's move was ready. The holy sword shone brightly. It was like a white sun. The light made everyone's eyes hurt. Holy Sword Art, Heaven's Destruction. It's coming. Looking at Duge Xingjian's move, Ling Xiao calmed down. Under the everlasting heavenly rat's beast soul transformation state, the sword martial spirit, the purple lightning bull, the frost dragon, the three-headed lava hound, the universe tiger, the undying bird, the canopy beast, and the King Kong ape appeared behind him. He had also taken out the ice-revered sword that he hadn't used since he had used it against the acute poison great sage. The power of the sky dragon, the power of the divine phoenix, and the power of the white tiger. These 3 powers from the sky tyrant martial spirit were also poured into his body. At this moment, Ling Xiao was close to the strongest Ling Xiao. It was just that the power of the sky tyrant martial spirit had not been fully released. Canopy beast, water giant. Everything happened in an instant. Ling Xiao released the water giant. A huge fist blasted towards Duge Xingjian. However, the white sword light instantly destroyed the water giant. A large amount of lake water enveloped the entire battlefield. Frost dragon breath. Ling Xiao didn't expect the water giant to be able to stop Dugu Xingjian for long. It was enough to weaken him for a moment, before the large amount of water in the lake could disperse. Li Mu's eyes lit up. He released the frost dragon breath. The water turned into ice. Dugu Xingjian was also instantly frozen. However, in just an instant, the sword Qi completely shattered the ice. The heavens and earth were destroyed. This power was so powerful that it was suffocating. However, Ling Xiao didn't give up. His battle was still ongoing. Three-headed lava hound, scorching hell. Undying bird's immortal fire meteorite. The two special skills were combined. In the scorching hell, the meteorite wrapped in immortal fire fell towards Dugu Shengjian. However, at this moment, Dugu Shengjian was truly incomparably powerful. He held the sword in one hand and continued to stab at Ling Xiao. However, with one hand he struck out a palm. With just his palm, he actually shattered the immortal fire meteorite. Although the palm was instantly burned by the immortal fire, he didn't seem to care anymore. As long as he killed Ling Xiao, a mere palm could still grow back. This was the benefit of being born with a sacred body. The multiple attacks only slightly obstructed Dugu Xingjian for a moment and slightly weakened Dugu Xingjian's attack. In the end, Ling Xiao still had to rely on himself to block his opponent. Vajra Divine Ape, Vajra Indestructible, 5 Ghost Secret Technique, Rock Devil, King Level, Black Tortoise Divine Body. All the defenses were ready. However, Ling Xiao was definitely not the kind of person who liked to passively defend. The Ice Supreme sword in his hand had already been raised. Emperor Overlord Sword, 5 Ghost Secret Technique Combination Technique. Ghost Emperor Overlord Sword, the fusion of 2 mid-level general-level martial arts. It was performed in Ling Xiao's hands. A fusion technique, or rather a combination technique, was a very difficult method to perform in martial arts. It must be 2 martial arts of the same level. Moreover, the martial artist must have perfect control of vital essence. There couldn't be the slightest problem. Otherwise, not only would the fusion technique not attack others, but it would also hurt the martial artist. However, this was nothing to Ling Xiao. The power of the fusion technique was definitely not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. The power it released was at least 3 times that of 2 martial arts. Come on, let's see who will die. Ling Xiao roared and took the initiative to attack. Boom! The two collided again. It was basically the most powerful attack of both sides. Huge chunks of earth flew up from the ground. The onlookers on both sides fled further away. The trees further away were uprooted. The sky was dark. It was as if the end of the world was coming. Boom! Rumble! Thunder rumbled and lightning fell from the sky. The scene was simply shocking. After more than 10 minutes, the two of them finally parted. Ling Xiao was sent flying dozens of meters away and lay motionless on the ground. Dugu Shengjian was also sent flying but remained in a half-crouch. Although his injuries were serious, they were lighter than Ling Xiao's. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! I won! I finally won! Dugu Shengjian laughed maniacally. Even he didn't understand why he was so happy after defeating a first stratum life-sizer. And yet he was happy. In this battle, he already unleashed all of his abilities before finally defeating Ling Xiao. Only he knew how hard it had been. That was why he was so happy. This guy really is a formidable opponent. But now that he's dead, there's nothing left. The Sword Dynasty is still mine. He looked over at the members of the Dragon Mammoth tribe. You're all going to die. His killing intent was completely unleashed. Although he was very weak, he didn't care. As far as he was concerned, killing the trash from the Dragon Mammoth tribe wouldn't be a problem. He had assumed that the Dragon Mammoth tribe would back away in fear. But they didn't. The Dragon Mammoth tribe members' faces were filled with grief and indignation, as well as fighting spirit. Ling Xiao is dead. What are we going to do? Emperor Dragon Mammoth asked loudly, "Kill Dugushengjian! Avenge Ling Shao! Avenge him!" Chapter 30, 187. Rumbling sounds filled the wasteland, causing even the thunder to retreat in fear. Suddenly, the sky began to brighten. However, a few seconds later, thick clouds rolled in, and this time there was something wrong with the thunder and lightning. Those are tribulation lightning clouds. Who's transcending tribulation? Don't tell me it's the Dugushengjian. The dragon mammoth tribe members were starting to panic. After all, the Dugushengjian was already strong enough. If he broke through, who would be able to stop him? The truth was that the Dugushengjian's expression wasn't very good. Tribulation lightning was something he had to deal with even in peak condition. Otherwise, he would be killed by it. Although he had worked himself to death to kill Ling Shao, he had also been seriously injured. If tribulation lightning struck now, he would be dead for sure. Although he was at the peak of the 3rd division of life seizing, his sea of power was at 100%. Although he could break through at any time, there should have been some sort of sign, and he hadn't sensed it. "That's 3 waves of demon lightning," the Baifeng said, a complicated expression on its face. "As far as I know, there's only one person in the Sword Dynasty who has experienced demon lightning. You're saying that my boy Ling Shao isn't dead?" Of course. The Dragon Mammoth tribe knew that when Ling Shao had broken through to the 1st division of life seizing, he had encountered 2 waves of tribulation lightning. "I don't know," the Baifeng said, "but based on the current situation, I don't think he's dead. Otherwise, the tribulation wouldn't have come." The Baifeng nodded. By this point, the Dugushengjian had noticed that the 3 waves of demon lightning were now above Ling Zhao's head. Each wave of demon lightning had 9 waves. The first wave had already landed, and its target was Ling Shao. All of a sudden, the Dugushengjian realized that Ling Shao wasn't dead. "Ling Shao isn't dead," he said. "He's still breaking through." When Dugushengjian learned of this fact, he was almost scared to death. When Ling Shao was in the 1st division of life seizing, the Dugushengjian had been on the verge of losing control. How could he possibly let Ling Shao break through? If he did, how could he possibly survive? As for the Sword Dynasty's experts, they were completely flabbergasted. Moments ago they had been excited, but now they felt as if they had dropped to the freezing point. They were also well aware of the terrifying consequences of Ling Zhao's breakthrough. On the Dragon Elephant Division's side, everyone was crying tears of joy. She rose from the bottom of sorrow to the heaven of joy. "I can't let you break through." Dugushengjian revealed a ruthless expression. Although Ling Zhao's current situation was very bad, and even if he was left alone, there was a possibility that he would be killed by the 3 demonic thunders. However, there were too many abnormalities with this kid. Dugushengjian absolutely couldn't place his hopes on him. He wanted to kill Ling Shao before Ling Shao broke through. Boom! A bolt of demonic lightning struck Dugushengjian. Even though he tried his best to resist, he was still blasted half to death. He hurriedly fled far away, looking at the demonic lightning that kept falling down in horror. What a terrifying demonic lightning! This is only the 1st level, and it's already so powerful. How terrifying would the 3rd level be? What kind of monster is this Ling Shao? How could he attract such a powerful demonic lightning tribulation? I can't even get close. It seems like I can only hope that the 3 demonic thunders will directly kill Ling Shao. Dugushengjian panted heavily. His body's condition was extremely bad. However, he was unwilling to escape just like that. Looking at the Dragon Elephant Division's people, he revealed a cruel sneer. "Kill! Kill the Dragon Elephant Division's people for me." He suddenly gave the order to attack. However, the Dragon Elephant Division's people were already prepared for battle. Ling Shao had done enough for them. He used the formation to stop the Sword Dynasty's million mighty army. He used the bet to kill the Ministry of War's great sage, the Ministry of Poison's great sage, and the Ministry of Work's great sage. He also seriously injured Dugashangjian. Now, there were only 8 sword emperors and 100 sword emperors left in the enemy's army. Although they were still powerful, if even these people couldn't stop them, the Dragon Elephant Division would be too useless. Listen to my command, kill! The Dragon Elephant, the Arch, waved his hand. The Dragon Elephant Division's warriors, who had been holding back for a long time, rushed out like ferocious beasts. The Dragon Elephant, the Arch, pounced towards Dugashangjian. At this moment, Dugashangjian was already seriously injured and no longer had his previous bravery. He could easily stop them by himself. Little Gold, Bifong, Dragon Elephant, Ba Dao, Long Chun, Cold Plum, Old Shaman, and Chong Ching rushed towards the 8 sword emperors. Among the 7 of them, Chong Ching and Old Shaman were weaker. However, Chong Ching had no problem using her long-range divine shot to restrain a sword emperor. Old Shaman was proficient in soul mystic arts and had no problem restraining the enemy. Cold Plum, Long Chin, and Ba Dao were basically fighting a sword emperor each. They could win head-on, but it would take a longer time. Bifong and Dragon Elephant had a greater advantage against the sword emperors and could probably end the battle quickly. The craziest one was Little Gold. One had to know that this guy had killed a sword saint in 2 to 3 moves. A sword emperor couldn't even last 1 move in front of him. Therefore, after killing his opponent, he went to help the 12 Legion commanders. He didn't forget his boss, Ling Zhao's good intentions. Not only did he want to win, but he also wanted to ensure that the Dragon Elephant Division had fewer casualties. Under the lead of the 12 Legion commanders, the Dragon Elephant Division's army made use of their advantage in battle formation and numbers to launch a fierce attack against the 100 sword emperors. Even if they could win, they would suffer heavy losses. After all, their opponents were sword emperors and there were 100 of them. However, Little Gold, this monster, came. He opened his mouth and spat out a ball of blazing golden light. More than 50 sword emperors were gone. The remaining ones were in a state of panic. The Dragon Elephant Division's army could simply start harvesting their heads. What could have been an evenly matched battle had turned into a one-sided massacre. Seeing that his side had fewer and fewer people, Dugashangjian was very anxious. However, what could he do? Given his current situation, the Dragon Elephant Arch could easily stop him. Although he wouldn't die, he wouldn't be able to save them. However, he was unwilling to accept this. He was really unwilling. 4 sword saint-level experts, 9 sword emperors, 100 sword emperors, and 1,000,000 soldiers. They couldn't take down the Dragon Elephant Division. Moreover, they were killed so miserably. At this moment, another scream was heard. The Baifong's opponent was killed. Your Highness, run. Another person died in battle. It was the Dragon Elephant Division's opponent. Before he died, he let out a final roar. Because he knew that he couldn't win, he told Dugashangjian to run away quickly. Damn it! Dragon Elephant Arch, do you know what you're doing? Even if Ling Xiao doesn't die, he can't survive the 3 waves of demonic lightning in his current state. Now that I'm seriously injured, I can't kill you. However, you can't kill me either. When I go back to recuperate, it will be the end of your Dragon Elephant Division. It's not too late to surrender now. Dugashangjian roared. Dream on. The Dragon Elephant, the Arch, sneered. Ling Xiao won't die, and our Dragon Elephant Division will become stronger. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.